will work to your benefit. Our main things for you in terms of deliverables are two. We do the county survey, which comes in February. That's usually for the municipal staff the most difficult and fastest, shortest time frame in terms of putting in data to somebody. And then we file the performance grant, which is usually at the end of the year, October. Now it's moved to the end of the year. In between, we get out a mailing at no cost to you to the business community, which puts you in compliance with the educational requirement that DEP has. That's a little card. It just comes out and says that state law requires that businesses and institutions require recycling of 4 items. So that's the pitch. And on the next page is our performance for Morrisville. And the following page is our current contract for preparing the 2020 grant application. And the last page is why I'm here tonight. We hope that you would approve the contract for Huff Associates to collect the 2021 data when 2021 ends next year and file your grant. So any questions or comments?
Mr. Huff, I have a question / comment. Just for clarification, previously we were paying $3,000 a year for the last couple of years since you started here, where we were receiving $11,000 a year, and you're now looking to increase that to $4,500 a year, and we're going to receive upwards of $35,000.
That's correct. Yeah, actually, we look backward, in terms of our fees, and so the 3,000 was based on the 17, the 11 and 17,000. When it doubled this past year, we've raised the fee 50%, and puts it in line with other municipalities that are earning $30,000.
Okay. Thank you. To me, that's a very fair return on investment.
If I could. So couple of things. One, you mentioned, and I recall this back from 2018, but I just want to kind of bring it up for the public and for those on council that weren't there at the time. So you've kind of created a group of municipalities that are all getting the benefit of the return that we're finding. As an individual municipality, we wouldn't have that kind of coalition, correct?
Right. We will start to look, now that we have a little data on how Morrisville performs, we'll see how it would fit within, say, that Ben Salem group.
Okay, because that was going to be...
We don't do it unless it benefits everybody in the group, and similarly, it has to benefit you.
And that was going to be my follow-up question was, are you soliciting any other local municipalities to join with us?
No.
Okay.
Not at this time. We are talking to a couple of other boroughs, but not in this area.
Okay. But those boroughs outside of our area would still be part of this coalition?
Well, I'm not saying you're not in the coalition. You're being handled as an individual municipality.
Okay, so right now we're not getting the benefit of any other municipalities. Is that correct? Okay. All right, that
you're not
clears it up for me.
To any other municipality.
Thank you.
Either. Yeah, but we'll look at it based on the numbers that we have when we're going to file this fall. There are some steps that are involved. The solicitor will know that you have to be part of an IMA, and all the members of that the Ben Salem IMA for recycling purposes, you'd have to have you join. You would have to have, do I guess, an ordinance change or however you join an IMA. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
what is an IMA?
Intermunicipal agreement.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Currently, the Ben Salem group that you have listed here consists of 7, and we're not in that group yet, but that's the one we'll be attached to?
It would make the most sense from our standpoint, you would fit
Okay.
in that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
We're going to move on to 4B, John Pinkerton of Keystone Collections Group.
Good evening, members of council. I'm actually Joe Lazaro, not John Pinkerton. There was a switch earlier, but I'm Vice President and General Counsel with Keystone, and hopefully be pretty well prepared to answer your questions you might have tonight. Keystone right now represents in this region, suburban Philadelphia, Delaware County, all the communities, boroughs, townships, cities, school districts in Delaware County, all in Bucks County, all in Northampton County. I mentioned Chester, and yeah, that's, I think, everything except Montgomery County, all of suburban Philadelphia except Montgomery County. We're doing the tax administration right now under Act 32. Act 32 consolidated tax collection by county border. It's administered that way, but every resident of each community that enacts the tax, the funds go to that community. And a lot of communities right now, those that did not have the earned income tax prior to Act 32, when everything consolidated, began to be run technologically and all automation, and the taxes just the same rate tremendously increased by community as far as the revenue return. Reason they're looking at it now really twofold. One, they're finding out that most of the residents in their community, if they didn't have the tax, are paying the tax right now somewhere else. And it's being collected as a non-res tax in the workplace, the employment place. Would not create a new tax, it would actually just take that tax and return it to the home community. The way the act is set up, primary, the tax goes to the community where the individual resides. And if the tax is not imposed there, then it stays in the community where the individual works. It's a workplace versus resident tax. We can see the numbers of Morrisville residents who are in Delaware County, in Chester County, maybe as far as Northampton County. The vast majority would be in Montgomery County, where we don't have access to that data. We don't have that administration. So if they're not in Bucks County, they're likely there. I said it was a twofold reason. The other is a lot of communities this close to Philadelphia never enacted the tax in the early days because of the Sterling Act. The Sterling Act gives priority over all these kinds of taxes to the city of Philadelphia. If you live in Philly, Philly takes the tax. If you work in Philly, Philly takes the tax. And they don't have a cap of 1% like a community here. They can adjust their tax, and right now it approaches 4%. What happened under the last year, under the pandemic and the work at home setups that a lot of businesses have quickly gone into because they didn't want people together, social distancing, and there's the ability to work remotely in so many positions now. People are working from home, and it's really increasing the Bucks County community's taxes because they no longer pay a commuter tax to Philly. It dropped from their 4% down to 1%. So the taxpayer's happier and the community's receiving those assets. The business has to stay in that mode and keep their people remote. We don't know right now how many businesses are going to call everybody back when this thing is really finally over, or they're going to say, hey, this worked out great having remote operations. We don't have to pay a lease down here. We can have less space. We don't have to have equipment. We don't have to have parking. And we're getting the same kind of hours or better. If that's their situation, they may let them stay in their home communities working. And we're just honestly monitoring that very closely. And I'm not talking quarter to quarter. We're looking at that month to month to see what businesses are tending to do. And throughout the whole pandemic, for all of our communities, we tracked where people were, where they were working, and what jobs were staying in place, and what jobs were disappearing or being lost because of layoffs and the business failures in the pandemic. Surprisingly, earned income tax in every county we represent across the state, and we handle 18, everyone went up in 2020 over 2019, which to that point had been by far the biggest year in earned income tax, simply because during 19, incomes were up across the board, and the ability to collect on that and the return on that was phenomenal. During the pandemic, a lot of businesses went to the payroll protection plan, federal program under the relief programs for the pandemic. And the payroll protection plan required businesses to keep their employees on, keep them at like or near salaries to where they were. And if they did that, from the Small Business Administration, they could have that entire loan forgiven, which was a tremendous switch from handing out unemployment checks to keeping people employed. What it also did for the communities was it kept these people on the earned income tax. They kept their cash flow going in, and it was really a phenomenal end result in what they call a win-win. Again, I am not here by any means. You make the administrative decisions. Adopt the tax or not as you see fit. But for us, the tax is being collected as a non-res or resident tax. You make the judgment calls as to what's the best thing to do here. I'm here to just answer questions, how the tax works, how the administration works, and anything I can offer you in the Act 32 legal realm. So I just wanted to be here as a service to you for that reason tonight. Yes, sir.
How does this tax affect people who work in New Jersey and your ability to collect it?
Yes. New Jersey's actually been fantastic with this. They have reciprocity with Pennsylvania. There's an agreement that says if your resident comes into New Jersey, we won't tax them in Jersey. As long as our residents go to Pennsylvania, you won't tax in Pennsylvania. It's a deal. It was an agreement that was made a long time ago. They could be working in Morrisville as far as you're concerned, but they're working in New Jersey. And the employers in New Jersey have been phenomenal with us. They withhold the tax, even though they don't have to under New Jersey law, and treat it just like it was a New Jersey tax, electronically file it with us every quarter, some of them monthly. And we have them set up on our business portal just as quickly as any business located in Bucks County or Chester County, New Jersey. Employers are paying the tax. If they don't, we do find out, but later. If they don't report it, then they are not withheld. We do find out later because the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue eventually will release PA 40 earned income tax numbers to us. That's a requirement under the Act. We analyze every taxpayer in Pennsylvania, so every resident of Morrisville, what you report on your PA 40, what you report on your local earned income tax return. If there's a discrepancy, there's an inquiry letter that goes out, and that starts the process to get them onto your tax rolls. So New Jersey would have no impact, other than you're going to collect the tax the same as here.
Okay. My next question would be, and it's probably one you can't answer because you don't track, but if a borough doesn't have an EIT and during this pandemic, do you see any change, the opposite direction where now they're working at home and they're not paying an EIT? I know I'm not phrasing it correct, and I can't think of a good way to put it, but it's essentially the reverse of what you said. You said during the pandemic that the places with EITs were now bringing the money back home because people were working from home. But is there any
What we're seeing where there is no earned income tax impacted is they're considering it. I've been to more places than ever before since Act 32 passed in 2010 because communities are looking to say, everybody else has this, why don't we? And they want to get in because their funds are going somewhere else. Their residents are paying it somewhere. It's withheld. Whether they know it or not, that tax is withheld.
I would, if I may, I would have to argue that and say we have people that work in this borough, that live in this borough and work in this borough, people that work at the bars, the restaurants, the convenience stores that work and live in this town. So it's not just a handful of people. You're talking about a good percentage of this town that works and lives right here. So I would argue that it's not all going, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Sir, you're absolutely correct. And I'll take that one back. Most is what we see, not everybody.
Mr. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
We received something from Keystone. I guess it was an estimate back in November of 2020 saying how much is already going outside the borough, and it's $170,000. How close to that number is that true? How true is that number? You don't know?
I'm not familiar with that number at all. I know there's a real difficult situation here because historically we couldn't see how many residents here work in Philly. And as we see, that's starting to shift, more than starting to shift, it's shifting pretty rapidly, pretty dynamically. And we don't know and can't see how many people work in Montgomery County. We wouldn't know anybody working in New Jersey because we've not been able to notify them of your information, and we don't know about Delaware. That being the case, the most we could see, you can't analyze that if you don't have, is a fraction of the data. So we don't know that. We could only see what the residents of Morrisville reported on their PA returns. So we can see the total revenue. How much would be drawn away by Philadelphia? We don't know. We can't see that. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. Philadelphia, whatever went to Philadelphia is the real variable.
Well, this was at 1%, by the way, this 170,000. So I think when we spoke about it, we were only going to do a 0.5%. So, but that still is $1 million. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I have a question. So there are residents in this borough right now that are working places that aren't paying the EIT. And for those residents, this would be a straight up tax increase, correct?
Well, sure, yes.
Okay. Because the way I'm looking at it, let's say it was at 1%. Okay. For me personally, I don't pay an earned income tax where I work. Okay. If we did a 1% income tax rate now, okay, that would be a $1,580 increase in my taxes. I would be paying $1,580 on top. If you went around and raised everyone's taxes $1,580, okay, we would be getting hung or crucified down at the Getty. So I'm going to say right now, I am against this. And anybody else on this council that wants to vote for this, would you be comfortable writing me a check for $1,580 to cover the cost of this? I pay enough in taxes, and I have emails from residents. I got a lengthy email today from a resident. Ted, you also received a copy of it. I can't read it right now. I'm driving, and it would take a while to read it. But you saw that email today, Ted. There are people that are against this. I know it sounds good, but there are the people in this town that are working that aren't paying an EIT, and if you did 1%, that's almost $1,600 I would be paying at a 1% over the year. Anybody in that room right now that can look and say, yeah, I think that's right. You need to pay another $1,600, and you believe what you want. I think it's crazy. So that's all I have to say on this.
Yes.
I'd
I'd like to ask a question regarding the tax itself. And did you possibly see if municipalities had enacted this tax, did they then open the availability to possibly reduce their property taxes with the thought process of taxing people who are working and reducing the property tax for that type of, being able to bring that type of income then into the municipality? Have you seen anything of that nature in any of the municipalities that you work for?
Two things that are very similar to that. The first one would be they're considering increasing the real estate tax because their budget requires it. They have to, costs are going up, and they decide not to increase the real estate tax and bring this tax in. And that's the alternative. And the idea behind it is this tax doesn't affect seniors, it doesn't affect fixed income in any way matter. This is a withheld tax, it's a payroll tax. You have to earn the funds. It's not funds you have, or it's not funds you're investing. Only the earned income, your pay during that course of the year, is taxed. Anything else that you bring in is not taxed under this act. And two, school districts, by law, have to do what you're suggesting. If they enact a tax, and that's also happening in suburban Philadelphia because of the work at home situation, they're enacting or looking to enact this tax. They've got to go through a voter referendum, and they've got to lower the real estate tax to proportionately, and that has to be demonstrated ahead of time to enact the earned income tax. So there's a shift there, and that's what a lot of communities are and can do. As far as what specifics they've done, I don't see the real estate tax side, and I can't be at every supervisors and council meeting. So I don't know whether they've affected their real estate tax when they've enacted a new earned income tax. They may. There may be a lot of examples like that. I know schools would have to do it, and school boards would have to do it. And I know that I've seen oftentimes they don't want to raise the real estate tax anymore, and they have to make up the difference by enacting the earned income tax.
Thank you very much for that information. I too have seen that in some municipalities. It was more a leveraging type item that was utilized to be able to reduce the property tax and follow through with something of this nature, as you have mentioned. And it actually did help certain people. So I just wanted to, hear some of that information. But thank you very much.
If I could, Mr. President.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So when I'm sitting up here and there's an issue in front of me, I'm never thinking me, right? So I represent a lot of people, and some of the people I represent work at Giant, and they don't make a whole lot of money, and they live here. They don't make a whole lot of money. We're not talking about people making, $200,000 a year. We're talking about families that are already struggling. And we talked about this years ago, and I love the idea that it doesn't affect seniors that are retired. That's a fantastic thing. But it affects families that are absolutely struggling right now. And that's what when I sit up here and I have to make a decision as to what's best for the town, I have to consider those people, not myself. This wouldn't affect me personally, but it affects those people. So for that reason, I think it's more than just looking at it and saying, okay, well, we can offset everyone's taxes. And I appreciate your thought on that. Don't take this the wrong way. But what we're doing is we're pushing that on the working folks that aren't all well-to-do, that aren't all in good situations. We're taking a bigger part of the burden and putting it on people that already can't afford it. So I really have an issue doing that because of that reason, no other reasons. Thanks.
Mr. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe we're voting on this evening, so it's good to hear everybody's thoughts. But to Mike's point, I agree there are people that will struggle. But if this is not enacted, then the borough is going to have to raise taxes. So just a comment. Sir, just to also let you know that 24% of the taxes that you pay to the borough are for the borough and the county. The other 76% are school taxes, and we don't control them.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you for your time.
We're going to move on to 4C, Gilmore and Associates.
Good evening. My name is Wade Helder with Gilmore Associates. Good to see you all tonight. I have my. Good evening. All right. My name is Wade Helder with Gilmore Associates. We were asked to come into council tonight to possibly answer a few questions about ongoing projects and ongoing grants as well. So we're here to answer any questions you may have on that matter.
If that's the case, I'll start. Can you give us an update on the levy project?
All right. Levy project. So we just submitted the what we call the preliminary certification report to FEMA, so they can give us their review and feedback on what we might need to update. So that's going on. It's probably gonna take them a few months to get back on that. We'll have to, in order to reach final certification for the levy, multiple improvements will need to be made. So there's going to be a diversion structure that needs to be installed north of the Delmore Avenue Bridge. There's the wastegate near East Maple Avenue. Will have to be either certified, structurally certified, to not fail during a 100-year flood event, or it'll have to be closed off. Part of FEMA's requirements, and also need an operations and maintenance plan to go along with it. And then a flap gate needs to be installed in a head wall and a stormwater outlet. So a head wall south of East Bridge Street. You guys, there's a swamp area south of East Bridge Street, north of Delmore Avenue, that has a stormwater structure.
So you said south of Delmore, but north of?
I believe it's Delmore Avenue. I believe it's
behind the Franklin
yeah.
property.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the tunnels go under the roadway.
Yes.
Whenever you're done, Justin. Are you
My only other comment is that can you provide council with like a high level, sort of milestone list of, what are the key things that have been done, what's to be done, and
Absolutely.
your best guess on time estimate?
Absolutely, sure.
Let me see your application.
I believe we can provide that.
what application are you talking about?
The preliminary levy certification application that was submitted.
Okay, that one. Mr. Parker, if Justin's done. To Justin's point, I think we've all been interested in what's going on down for the flood control, for the flood levy. Now, this month, there was $14,800 spent, and I'm just wondering, each month there's money spent. And what you just explained, is that what's being?
Yes, essentially. So we have a sub-consultant, Terra Solutions. They've been the ones performing the hydrologic and hydraulic study that goes along with this levy certification. They've also been the ones to help us prepare the report and submit it. There's also work involved with coordinating with DCNR to try and get answers from them, as well as FEMA. We've been coordinating with FEMA to see exactly what their requirements are going to be to get this levy certified.
Okay, thank you. Because it just comes to us as one,
yeah,
it doesn't really say what's happening. Also, I have a second question about in the McGrath project, the $1,800. Like, what exactly is Gilmore doing down at from the McGrath project?
So I know at one point there was, and this probably isn't last month, but I know at one point there was a traffic study that we were reviewing at one point. Last month or the month prior to that, McGrath had reached out to us about our survey with the levy study, because they wanted to see, we wanted to coordinate because they have their storm survey and we have our storm survey. So we're trying to consolidate those to have as much accurate information as possible.
Is that the traffic study that was done last September? Do you know? Because there was a bill for one, but I didn't remember voting on it. And when I had asked about it, don't really know. I mean, we paid for it.
Right. I don't remember when this traffic study was performed, but I remember we did perform a review several months ago.
Okay. And Patriots Park is my next question.
Sure.
It seems minimal. It's $3,700, but I was just wondering what's going on there.
So Patriots Park, we have we have the concept design done. We have survey. We don't have a detailed plan for Patriots Park because there's a lack of design funding available currently. We have been submitting grant applications to get more funding for design purposes and construction purposes. There's an RACP grant that is awarded. However, a business and action plan needs to be submitted to RACP, an official plan that highlights where the match funding for that grant will be coming from, and you can match it with real estate value and land value, and as well as what construction will be done with the park. The only issue there is, again, we don't have design or engineering funding to submit that application currently. So we have been looking into ways to have that done for you.
Okay. So in order to do the recap application, when you're going to ask for money and for matching monies, we don't even have the match yet. So it's not, the architectural design's not happening. Is that until we have some?
Yeah, until we have design funding, we can't.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't continue design work.
Thank you.
All right, I have one question. 9I, which is a paving project with Falls Township. Can you explain that to council a little bit?
Sure. So Falls Township, so we found out, or I believe John later reached out to us about the Falls Township paving. They are paving North Lafayette Avenue between Philadelphia Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue, I believe.
West Trenton.
West Trenton Avenue. Okay, yes, West Trenton Avenue. So that's their half of their road. So Morrisville just has the opportunity here to kind of jump onto that paving project, and have the other half paved. So we have a full new road. We did look into their unit pricing for their road program, and it comes out to be less than the current Morrisville 2021 road program. So we can provide costs to them, and they'll handle oversight and engineering and construction.
Mr. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for bringing that up, because I was going to ask that. I appreciate the opportunity that we could do that other half of the road, but I am completely opposed to this for the fact that we already have a road program that we planned on doing in more dire needed streets, and I think that they should be addressed first.
Okay.
So
this is in addition to the current road program. This might be replacing any of the current roads proposed to be paved this year.
So this was an opportunity. One second, Scott.
Okay.
So this was an opportunity to pave a section of roadway at less than what it would cost us if we had initiated ourselves. Already there. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
Okay, I have a question. A couple of years ago, Plaza Boulevard got paved from the portion between the shopping centers from Trenton Avenue down. I don't know how far they went down to the apartments. Did we pay for that whole project? Do you know or not?
Yes.
Okay. Now, part of Plaza
that was
Boulevard.
with Falls.
So they chipped in on that project then.
No, Falls would not chip in on the project, and we did not want to leave a half a football field's length of road not done. And the amount to do it was a reasonable amount because the equipment and personnel were already there to do it. So the Borough Council decided to pay for the remainder because Falls wouldn't come to the table. But I believe this is LMT we're dealing with now.
Which one? This?
Okay.
Yes, this is Lower Make.
This is Falls. It is Falls. Okay.
Like what my question was, I remember as a child that Plaza Boulevard was always that it was like a minefield because the Morrisville Borough and Falls Township could never mutually agree to get it done. And then maybe 20 years ago it was paved, and I believe it was a joint venture between both townships. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is maybe we could ask them to do it out of the goodness of their heart, but since we finished Plaza Boulevard, wouldn't they be able to do a little of that work on Lafayette for us?
That was Falls that we did that for, and this is Lower Makefield.
No, this
is
Falls Township.
Oh, this is Falls as well? Okay, I thought it was Lower Make. Okay, my mistake.
I think we should ask if they'd be willing. I still believe if we have an extra $14,000, it should go to another road that's used by us on the, there are roads here that are used.
But I think the point was that we're getting this for $14,000. We're getting something that would cost us. What would be the estimate?
Typical estimate would be between like 18 and 25.
Yeah. So
And that's without your engineering services and to bid it out, right?
The higher estimate would include the engineering.
Okay.
So I'm still stand where I stand.
And how far down Lafayette is this going? From Trenton Avenue to?
From West Trenton to Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yes.
It's only half the street. It's the north side of.
To Pennsylvania Avenue?
I believe it's
It kind of goes up and curves over by the church.
It comes out past north of the church.
It's north of Trenton Avenue, not south. Oh, okay.
If there are no other questions, Council President, may I speak on this?
sure.
When this was presented to me, it was presented in the manner as we had heard that it would save us a lot of money to be able to accomplish this. So I then asked John Lader, would we be eliminating anything that's on our road plan? Because I too had the same thought process as one of our other council members who had just spoken. And forgive me, I'm
Nancy Sherlock.
Miss Sherlock. Thank you.
That's okay. We just met this evening.
Yes, I'm horrible with names. Not want to be disrespectful in any way. So I was with the understanding that we would be possibly saving a lot of money because we would not have to put this out to bid at this point. We didn't have to do the engineering and so forth. And my first question was, do we have the money in liquid fuels to accomplish this? I was told we do. I was also told that we would not be eliminating any of the other projects, which we do have in place for the road program that's in place. Excuse me, for the roads that are in need of repair. I then had asked the engineer to please reach out to PICO and get the contract that you have before you this evening in writing. Because I knew there were monies due to us regarding PICO. So we will be acquiring these funds also. So I thought, well, if council is not amenable to taking the money from liquid fuels, we also have this to work with, which we could accomplish this. So really the goal was because we were looking at saving monies. I hated to see half of the road finished and not the other half. I believe, did someone, and forgive me, Wade, did someone reach out to Falls Township and ask them if they would follow through with the other half of the road for us?
I've been in touch with their township engineer, Joe Jones, who indicated that, yeah, that's the case, that they would follow through with road paving.
I'm sorry.
The road paving on North Lafayette, yes.
That they, did anyone reach out to them asking if they would pave both sides?
Oh, paved, yeah. You mean under their current road paving program? Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And
Yes, if Morrisville was to contribute the funds.
certainly, but what I'm asking is, did anyone reach out and ask them if they would help with this? Because some of the council members are saying that they.
Yeah, not to help out with it. They never indicated anything like that to us.
Sure.
I think we should put a little more pressure on Falls.
We can look
I'd be
into it.
happy to do that.
I had not heard about I believe you said it was Plaza Boulevard paving. I had not heard about
Yeah.
that.
And then the other item was, the only reason we quickly did this was because I believe the paving project is supposed to start next week. So that was why we did what we did, putting it on the agenda with the thought process of what we had. So just a little background.
Just a further comment on that. The email we have provided by Falls Township engineers, their conservative estimate is it's going to be $13,500 to $15,000. So it's a good chunk of change, but it's not a huge chunk of change. And also, I know you pulled out the PICO letter with what they owe us. We did, I believe, pull out a section of Hillcrest Avenue from the road program because there was going to be some, it was the work that was done by PICO there.
It was not removed out of the road program since we had already bid that portion of road, and then Pico came in to do their utility work.
I believe, didn't we deduct it? Didn't we approve the deduct of that first block?
It was a different, the first block is not what Pico is working on. That is because there's a cracked pipe running underneath the road that needs to be repaired first.
So it starts at the 200 block west on Hillcrest? That's where they did all the piping.
Starts after
Right around Somerset.
Stockham.
Right. So it starts, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Stockham. You're correct.
Stockham and Hillcrest?
Yes. So we're paving from Stockham towards Legion, I think all the way to Lafayette.
You're paving
on Hillcrest.
Yeah, you're paving, I believe.
And then further down on Hillcrest.
I believe you go all the way down to Grandview.
Oh, okay. So
So we literally.
So where's that pipe?
Block.
It's from Pennsylvania Avenue up to Stockham is where the pipe issue is? Okay. That's kind of bumpy there. Thank you for bringing up the 25,000. That was a question I had later, but I thought that we should, of course we're going to use that. I was hoping we're going to use it just to give us a bigger cushion. I think we should talk to Falls and talk about our history and see what they can do.
Sure.
That's my suggestion. I can't tell you what to do. I can't. The borough would have to tell you what to do. This body. That's my feelings.
If I may.
Good.
So I just want to circle back, and I have two items. One is I'm going to circle back to the levy and ask if there's and obviously this is going to be a put you on the spot question, a guesstimate on this thing being done. And here's why I'm asking. Every resident that lives down there is paying for that flood insurance. Every individual down that way is asking on a regular basis, and rightfully so, when are we going to see some relief from this flood insurance that they probably shouldn't have to be paying?
Well, in order to get full accreditation, you'll need to construct the improvements I had discussed earlier. So obviously, either the borough will need to secure the construction funds through grants, which we'll have to look into. So just getting those grants is going to take it's at least a 6 month process from when you submit the application, and then after that, it's probably another at least 6 months to a year in order to implement the improvements. So you're probably looking at least a year and a half for.
So conservatively, 2 years we're looking at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other question is one of my favorite topics. It's going to be the basin on Melvin Avenue. Do we have a groundbreaking date yet?
We have to submit I have to coordinate with the contractor to set up a pre-con meeting to figure out exactly when to get out there, but they should be out there within the next few weeks.
Okay, thank you.
One more quick question. Do you have any update on the Bridge Street obstruction project?
That's the one project that I'm not intimately familiar with in Morrisville Borough. That would be my coworker. I can certainly try to get you guys a detailed update on what's going on with that. I know we need to go through an environmental review process, I believe. It's just that we lack the funding to do that currently, but we do have construction funds secured for this project. So it's until we can get funding secured to get this environmental review done, then it's on hold, essentially.
Okay, by we, it's not really a borough project, right? It's the, I forget what the organization's name is. It's kind of
Environmental Council.
Yeah, the PEC is heading it up and just kind of going through us. So I assume that in addition to you, they're looking for funds?
I believe they are, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
I may, Council President. If I may, I was going to hold this information for manager's report, but since we have Wade at the podium, I felt it was best to discuss it now. This past week, we had worked diligently as a group, myself, Micah, John, and Wade. We worked with the county and the CDBG funds that were awarded previously to the borough for the library roof. The bids came in for the library roof. They were double than what they had been previously. And the amount of funds that we previously had were not enough to accomplish this project. So all of us put our heads together and worked with the county The county is now going to award us the majority of funds. And we are also utilizing the Keystone Grant, which is in the amount of $52,500 to match that. So at this time, this project should be able to be completed without any taxpayer dollars. We're very happy with what had transpired this week. It took about 3 days to come up to being able to accomplish all of this. And I didn't know, Wade, if you had anything that you wanted to add to that.
I think that pretty much sums it up. We do, CDBG has sent us that amended contract, so it just needs to be enacted, but we do have the funds to complete construction at this point.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. One quick question on that, Wade, for the public's knowledge.
Sure.
Can you tell us about the project? Is it going to be a replacement of the roof in kind, and is everything going to look exactly the same, or is there changes?
As of now, we'll have enough to award the base bid, so it would be a slate roof, similar colors, similar material, with copper flashings and copper gutters.
Thank you.
Mr. Parker? The bid mentioned 2 exemptions. We're taking out, I thought this was for later, so do you know what I'm referring to?
You're talking about the deducts?
Yes.
So there's 2 deducts available. If the borough would like to award the synthetic slate, there's a deduct there. I forget, I'm not sure what the price off the top of my head is. And then there's also a deduct for the copper flashings and gutters to do aluminum instead.
Okay. And which slate was, John later had a sample of one, and which one was that? Do you know? Or is he in there to tell us? Was that slate-like, but yet was 25 more years warranty?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I know the architect we had working on this coordinated that with John later. I don't believe I ever saw the actual product.
Okay.
It's slate. It's not slate-like. It's slate.
It's slate.
Yeah, it's slate, and the color is a little bit darker, but that's because it fades over a period of time. So, but it's a 75-year warranty on that. 50 would be, and synthetic would be 50. So
okay, so it makes right. It's much more sense to get the one that has the longer warranty. Thank you.
We will have to go through approvals in regards to what the SHPO will approve. That would be the historical type materials. So there'll be process that we'll have to go through. And that's why we have the information on the agenda as we do, because it's unknown at this time as to what the SHPO will approve and not approve. So what we're doing is we're covering our bases. Is that correct, Wade?
Yes.
If I can also add to that, the library board is currently working to have the building dedicated as a national historic property. So they're going through some other information to see how far we can get with that. We have Mr. Jeffrey Marshall, who worked for the county for many years, you're probably familiar with. So he's working with the board on that. Thank you.
And the only other information I wanted to touch upon was we will have to relocate the library employees for a minimal period of time when the construction is going on. So I just wanted to inform everyone that that'll be a process we'll be also following through on, so everyone is safe and we can accomplish this as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Will the library be closed?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on. Republic Services.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay.
Do you have anything to say, or you just want to accept questions?
Just want to say good evening, council, residents. My name is Chris Moore. I'm representing Republic Services.
Yeah, I'm sorry, closer to the mic again. I think they have to eat the mic.
Yeah, he can do that.
Is this better?
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Solving problems. Ms. Danko, congratulations. Haven't met you yet, but I've worked with your team down there. I've worked with John Lader and Micah Heights. Had nothing but good experiences with them. So here to answer questions for you guys. whatever you got for me.
Thank you for the congratulations. And I just wanted to add, a representative was in this morning from your company, and I had a conversation with him, and I apologize, I don't recall his name. Can you help me with his name, Vinny?
I believe that was our municipal sales guy.
I'm not sure what his name was,
Yeah,
but okay.
You draw a blank right
So
now.
we're both in the same boat, but thank you. But we had informed him, of all the infractions that have been taking place throughout the borough, and that this isn't really a new issue. It's been a long time. I'm only 5 days new, but I certainly have learned a lot in 5 days as to the items that have been taking place, or should I say not taking place, in reference to pickup and so forth. So we in the office, along with the person who we spoke to, the girls who have his name and number, had agreed that we would be working with him and you and anyone else that we could work with to get rectification of all of these items. We do have some lists. We have a lot of information. So I'm encouraging anyone that is experiencing any of these issues to please, I would encourage you to call, of course, the Republic Services hotline first. If you can't get through, then of course utilize the borough's online informational item. That would be really advantageous. And if not, certainly call the borough office, and we are going to input that information ourselves. So we have documentation that we can all work together to get this rectified, as I was saying. But I know council has a lot to say about this, so I'll pass this along. But I did just want to inform everyone that we've begun working on a process on how to get this rectified. And we're looking forward to working with Republic and making sure that it happens. But thank you.
Okay, one at a time now.
Okay.
You don't mind?
Who's first?
Yeah, go get it.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I was going to first look at you and say, so how do you think it's going? But I'm not going to do that to you. Here's what I'm going to say. I know the answer that I've gotten with the outages and the misses is personnel based. However, that has become the excuse. And here's where I'm going to take that out of the equation. I have an issue that two people in this town can call the same hotline and get two different answers. So my question to you is, what are you doing about that? Because that's the worst kind of service you can offer. If you miss something, hey, listen, I get it. Some people called in sick. It's been a rough time in general. CDL drivers are at a minimum right now, right? So I get all of that. But what are you doing operationally to say, I'm going to treat our customer base right, which is the community, and provide them accurate information? Know that two people calling the same number and asking the same question aren't going to get two different answers. What are you doing to fix that problem? Because that's really, in my opinion, your biggest problem. Personnel isn't your biggest problem. How you respond to your misses is your biggest problem right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you on that. That is the portion I would majorly put that on is our customer service representatives, right? So years ago, we used to have in-house customer service. They knew what was going on minute to minute. They could answer anything that anybody needed. About 5 years ago, the company moved to an area-based customer service located in Arizona, and one I believe is in Virginia. I'm working with our customer service liaison because this is not just a Morrisville issue. We service over 10,000 customers every single day. It's the number one thing that I hear from residents or customers is the customer service aspect of it, whether it's the hold times on how long they're waiting to get a hold of somebody to the answers that they're given. These are things that I bring up on a monthly call to our field liaison and work with them on trying to solve the issue. I will say, within the next year, we're going to be implementing a tablet program, one that other companies have been using, but we're now going to be using it in residential, which should be able to allow more feedback from the residents. I've been told that it's kind of like a Uber type of deal where if you're receiving poor service, you'll be able to log on and let that driver specifically know what your issue is and what you're having with that. But we're looking to implement that early next year.
So I'm going to blow you up on that answer, though, because you just blamed it on customer service. You again blamed it on employees, when in fact, if there was proper training and your systems were correct, you wouldn't have this problem, right? Because my understanding is, you have an individual to call and ask a question, right? Your customer service representatives are looking at their computer screen and they understand, they get details on our contract with Republic, and that's how they are able to answer the questions. How do I do this? If I have a refrigerator I'm trying to get rid of, I call Republic, what's the answer? How much do I get charged? They're the kind of things you guys are struggling with too. I don't even know if you know that. I had a situation a little while ago at this point, but an individual called you guys and said, hey, I want to pick up my air conditioner. And this was in the prior contract. And they were told that they had to pay $50. Well, when I heard that, I hit the roof, because you guys, that was in our contract. It was literally one of the items listed that you were to pick up as a bulk item. And so again, the problem isn't necessarily the people answering the phones, it's the information that they have. And if it is the people answering the phones, right, then it's a training issue, right? You can't just keep saying that the problem is our employees. At some point, you got to take responsibility and say, our problem is operational, and this is what we're doing about it. And I hear what you said you're doing about it. You're meeting with the liaisons or the regionals and stuff like that. I get all that. But this has been going on for years. So at what point do you think you'd see some movement and some better service when somebody calls, and at what point do you think you'd feel confident in saying, hey, I believe 100% if two people call this number right now, you're going to get the same answer from two different people?
That's that's kind of a tough question to ask, but it's a valid one. I'm working with, like I said, the field liaison people and the sales people to make sure that all this information is correct. Along with those issues, I've also heard from meeting on Mondays and Thursdays while I'm here that residents are calling, they're looking to buy containers, and that the people on the phone are saying, well, you're not a customer. Things of that nature. So it's an overall larger issue that we're actually having with all of our municipalities. For whatever reason, I'm an operations supervisor. There's only so much I'm going to be able to answer on that. But I will let you know that is a major top concern that we are working on to better service you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Parker, whoever your second person is, I can go. Hi. I have actually two things besides the missed homes, which seems to be the biggest. And it's amazing to me that they can miss a house that's like they'll hit three houses and the next one they miss it. So I don't know. I don't know. You had mentioned that it was personnel, and I also believe, to Mike's point, customer service is important, but I think consistency is very important. And I don't know that all your drivers are consistent. I don't know if you have different people that come in every week. They don't know the route as well. They miss, and so I'm just wondering if there's any hope to get that fixed. And then some time ago, now you just said you're coming into the borough on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some time ago, there used to be the representative would come into the borough hall around noon and say, what's happening? Have we missed something? Was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And, did we miss garbage? Did we miss recycling? And then you would just immediately take care of it before you left the town. So I'm just wondering, if you're still coming, then I would think that we'd be able to fix these things before the end of day.
Yeah. So two-part question. First part, for our staffing issues, we had lost 4 members for various different reasons. 2 of them were directly involved in Morrisville contracts. So the people who we've brought in are either SOS drivers who may be coming from Delaware, maybe coming from Pittsburgh, or all over the country that fly in and just basically help staff us. Not well versed. They do their best. They're kind of what we get to work with. The other side of the coin is I've brought people in who just aren't well equipped and had to give them, a fair shot at learning a route. And that may take 2-3 weeks, and then you go, this isn't working, right? You got to pull them out of there, try something else. Where we're at now, like I said, we were 4 drivers down. I got 4 back up, and none of them, to your point, CDL drivers were at an all-time premium. None of them were through interviews. I had a driver that transferred from another division. I took 2 of our best helpers, 2 of them that were actually helpers in here, trained them up, personally took them to get their CDL. They're now driving for us, and also called a previous worker and had them come in. So we are turning that corner into being fully staffed. Actually, as of today, we are fully staffed.
Well, there are a number of people in town that have absolutely no problem with your sanitation pickup, but unfortunately, we have to worry about the ones that aren't getting the service.
Yeah.
So and one other question is, I've had some comments people had called about. They said there's a lot of glass in the street,
right.
And is there something after they crush that the glass is slipping through?
So you'll see this in any type of recycling pickup. Typically, if you're going to use an automated side loader, like most do, either that or a rear loader, crushed glass, it's the worst on the trucks. It just grinds a hole straight into the bottom. And trucks that are specifically used for recycling, they take the brunt of it. Whenever we see that truck goes straight to our weld shop, gets handled that night, right then and there.
So people need to call and say this happened, give the address, and then you would know which truck was on that route.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I come in, typically my routine is I go in, I'll check in on all of our drivers in the area, then I'll come in the office, either report on situations that we're having or incur if there is anything going on that I don't know about. I'll go back out, have the issue solved before I leave. And after I return back to the office, if there's something that I get called on, our drivers are typically done before 3 o'clock. So if I get something later in the afternoon, I'm going to have to rely on drivers who are out in different areas for them to come over here to handle an issue. I've been called on in the afternoon about broken glass or maybe hydraulic or something, and had to, we have a third-party service who will come out and clean it. We have no problem sending them out here to clean up the streets. We've done it.
Okay, so people have to call about that as well. That's what I'm saying. And I think communication is key. So if you're still communicating with the borough, coming in, saying, what can we do? What did we miss? I think that's important. I mean, there was stuff missed on Bridge Street last week. Again, clearly, I don't know how they missed it. And it was there. It was there before pickup. So thank you.
I have a couple of things. You mentioned you guys are looking to go computerized in the next year. Until that time, how do we get a hold of you? I've had residents say they waited 10, 15, 20 minutes on the phone. I find that completely unacceptable, especially if they have to do it more than once a month. Do you have an email address or anything that we can contact? Is there another system we can put in place whereby our borough manager had mentioned, I know we were working on our end to do online reporting for us, and then we can just contact you. But is there something in your interim, I realize you don't want your phone number going out to 3,000 people.
It's out there.
But so is there anything in your first week of the job here, is our online system up and running to do complaints?
Our online system is up and running, so anyone that's within the borough can certainly go on to our online system and make the complaint. And I've had a meeting with the office staff this week on how we're going to begin to handle things in that manner. It's not really how we would like to go about it. We would prefer that the Republic provide us with some type of other contact information other than a phone number. So that was actually something we were going to discuss when we met again. Can Republic provide us with an email address, or can they provide us with some type of a complaint system other than just the phone call, because the phone call system is not working. So that was an item that I talked about today. And so thank you very much. But again, we were going to regroup, re-meet. I hadn't met you at that point, and get like I said, a staff meeting together that all of us could figure out ways to not only work with you guys, but to also help expedite some of these complaints So they are dealt with immediately when you're in the borough and not after the fact. Hoping that will help better, fast track all of this. So is there, since we're saying this, is there an email address?
Sure. So I believe the way it works now is either Sue and Dawn, who are handling that, they'll receive phone calls from residents. They'll either refer them to the number or they'll take down the complaint directly, and they'll forward that to either my email address along with my direct dispatcher's email address. I would not be hesitant to put my email out there, but I do handle a lot of email, and that would put a lot more on my plate. We do have a dispatch group email that we primarily use for commercial services and industrial services. I could talk to our manager there and see if that's something that we could implement, since we did bring on another member. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to handle it. It's only 2 days a week.
Certainly, because I believe it's very important that the public has some other way to reach the public other than this phone number that's not helping them in any way. So if we're able to have a process that an email address or some other complaint type of email system, we would certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I agree with all of you. Our corporate customer service, and this is me saying this, I don't believe that it's up to par. And if we could kind of sidestep that and give you guys a more clear, open line of communication, I have no problem with providing that for you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Judy, what about something along the lines, if we were to set up an email address, trash complaints at morrisvillepa.gov, that basically would take emails from residents and, forward them to one inbox where the borough would keep record of it, and then we could forward it on to him, so that he's only getting emails from one or two people instead of a town full. I know, if you get 300 emails, somebody's going to complain on their Jefferson Street, and you don't know which town that's in. They didn't write the name or phone number, and we would have a better feel for who's writing it in.
I was going to ask Mr. Lader to comment on how our email process works, because I think what we have in place at this time we can utilize, and I believe that's what we're doing. Am I correct?
You're correct. It's the Citizen Reporter, which is on our website. That's where we can do that. The resident can report a missed pickup or another issue. That comes to me, and then I can then take it to the Stanko and whomever and anybody from the hauler. And we can do it if they use it, but it has to be utilized.
Right.
Instead of doing a whole email, that's just another step. We have something in place now that we can use.
I get that. I know 3 weeks ago or so, you said you guys were going to work on it and updated me at least, and I never got an email saying that it's up and running and usable.
It's absolutely, the system is up and running. Tracer is up and running right now. Citizen Reporter has been up on the website for at least 6 months or more. So it is and residents are utilizing it. They just utilize it a little bit more.
And can we come up with some sort of, 1-page high level instructions and, exactly what we need on there? Because people are going to go on there. They're not going to put in their address, or they're not going to put, the information that you need to be able to get to Republic that says this person, here's their complaint and what it is. Like, can we make those boxes mandatory or something?
It is self-explanatory. It's very easy when they get on there. It walks you right through the process.
Don't you have to put your name and address in there when you're making right?
No.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's for a different request.
There's some different.
I'm sorry, there's different requests.
But this one, they don't have to, but I would suggest, so we can get back, put your phone number, so we can call you back and tell you we are taking.
But that's what I mean. We should have instructions to say, this is the specific information we need for a trash complaint.
Yeah.
So
you follow I'm sorry, Justin. If you follow right down the line, if you go on and look at it and you follow it, just do a test one, you'll see.
No, I've done a couple.
So it asks those questions, so it should work.
And the other item that I'm happy about using this system is that it also provides us with a report, so we can keep track of these items, and that's something that I'd like to do, where an email system would be a little harder. So I'd really like to try to utilize this system. I do know that I had worked with the staff this week, and we have had people using it for this issue already. So we just need to promote it more, I believe, on the website. That was something I wanted to also do. But I wanted to meet with Republic in the upcoming week and really put a better plan together, and then go to our website, inform the public as to what they need to do, and give this a try. Put Plan A into place. And thank you, John.
So
Thanks.
I have one comment. I actually live in the first ward, and I don't really get any complaints about garbage, and I don't really have any complaints. So, but I do have complaints. I have seen the glass on the streets, and I was wondering if there was something you could do where you could provide instructions to residents, because I've seen where the garbage cans have been blocked by cars, so that makes it hard for collection. I've seen where residents don't bundle their garbage correctly, which makes that hard for collection. And I've seen where garbage cans have been falling over and the residents don't pick them up. And I don't think we have an expectation that your services should be picking up garbage that has been left behind. So if there's something we can put out or you can put out to the residents telling them how they could do garbage better.
Sure. So I had previously spoken with Micah Heights, and we were talking about the whole garbage situation and the program, and trying to make more of a space online for the residents to go there and get more information. And I told them, if you guys need it, I can go on and grab it from our online and give you information, either pamphlets, stuff like that, that you could digitally put up there and have the information for the residents.
And I think that would help tremendously.
Mr. Parker? To Helen's point, sometimes I think also when they're recycling nights, I think people think the service and the garbage people are mind readers, because people don't separate what they're doing, or looks in another, and then they get upset because you said you put my recycling into the regular garbage, and it's like, but it wasn't marked. So there's definitely lessons to be learned, the public, as far as how and when to put it out. And then to Justin's point, I wish the 2 times I called it was only 15 or 20 minutes, because it was like 45 one time and 40. The second time I just hung up. People can't wait that long for somebody to answer the phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can understand from my perspective, it gets frustrating because that is an arm of my company, and it's frustrating the residents, who in turn are directly pointing their arrows directly at me, which I can't do anything for Arizona or for Virginia.
I have one last comment. I did make it the last meeting. I made the comment, I believe, that in the contract, it also states that your company can be fined if you don't pick up the trash. I made that comment. Some people didn't like it. Some people did like it. I don't know how to test that or even how to track that. I mean, if we told you that there were 25 places didn't get picked up for a day, what do we do? Did we prorate it by all the, so it's not, I don't think that's an easy fix.
Right.
But I do think that we should stand firm on, let's get the job done, or something else has to be done.
Yeah, 100%. And look, you guys are our priority. Throughout all of this, throughout the pandemic, throughout everything, we've made you guys a priority. Our team has put their best foot forward. And, the beginning of last year, when we saw tonnages go up we were picking up close to 50 tons per day, year over, not just here, but throughout our service area. And they were cleaning everything up. So we try and work with you. Anything that we can do to resolve any issues, we'll do. And typically, if there is an issue if we missed a street or what have you, try and have that solved and done within 24 hours.
And tonnage went up last year because everybody was home. I think someone commented on that.
Yeah.
So all the extra refuse, yeah.
Yeah, tonnage is still up.
And okay.
I wasn't finished before, so I still have a couple more things.
Oh, I'm sorry, Justin.
That's all right. For the most part, I haven't had any issues up until last week, and my issue is only minor. Whoever came to my garbage can opened the lid up and pulled out the bag and left all the stuff in the bottom. I believe it was an older truck. Maybe it didn't have a manual arm, and I didn't feel like lifting my big can. To me, if that's my biggest complaint, it's a good day. But we got we got an email a few months ago detailing some of the things in your contract, such as your trucks that are out of spec and out of date for our contract. Do you have any, I know that, anybody ordering a truck or a vehicle now is, extended wait. Do you have any update on when you expect newer vehicles in your fleet?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we have 2 more that we have to get. What we've gotten from the manufacturer, which is Mack, they're just back, just like any other car manufacturer, anybody else. So we're expecting late December arrival. It could get pushed back further than that. I'm not sure, but I do know that we are approaching the 1 year leeway time that we had for that.
Okay. And my second comment is when our bill list comes up, I intend not to vote to pay Republic. It's not to not pay you for the services. I think we need to hold on to services because, like you said, your right arm, your customer service department isn't doing a good job, and you don't have control over that. And I think the only way a little borough like us is going to, have any impact on saying something is if we hit Republic in the pocket and start holding back some money so that they, somebody a little higher up looks at it and says, you know what, these people owe us money. They got a good point. And let's not spend it on attorneys. Let's fix our problem and make every other customer happy.
Sure. To counter that, I would just say I would hope that the plan that we have in place for customer service is going to work out fine, and that our team that we have in place is going to cause little issues to have to go that route.
I hope so, but I've been up here for 3.5 years now, and I've heard this before, and it gets better for a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and it went downhill again. So I hope this time, hope third time's a charm.
No one else.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for facing the fire.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. We have 3 minutes. At the 1 minute left mark, I'll just give you an indication of 1 minute to go. First one up is Molly Rafferty. Your name and address, and then your time will start after that.
Molly Rafferty, 123 Delaware Avenue. Here to talk about Eco Remedy. Eco Remedy is identified as a gasification system. They take biomass, which is the sludge after the sewer plant's treatment, and extract the syngas, which in this case is methane. They use the captured methane gas on site to generate the heat that burns the remainder of the biomass at approximately 2,000 degrees. The captured methane is what generates the heat that creates combustion. Gasification to capture methane as a fuel source creates no emission. But because they use the captured gas to burn the balance of the biomass, this is not a closed gasification system. It involves incineration. If it were closed, there wouldn't be odor or uncontrolled emissions plaguing our community. The odor and emissions are due to the combustion aspect, the incineration process. They could capture the methane gas and take it off site to be further processed and sold as an alternative fuel source, but they don't. The purpose of this Eco Remedy facility is simply to reduce the biomass weight, which saves the MMA dumping costs. Morrisville, especially the MMA, needs to put into consideration the emissions' significant threat on public health and the environment. The DEP allowed them exemption of air quality testing due to their R&D, their research and development status as a developing technology. Eco Remedy's been scrambling for 20 months to address their odor issue and visible
1
emission.
minute.
Still, they're unsuccessful. And in regards to the emission toxicity, I cannot stand here and say that Eco Remedy's emissions are busting out hundreds or thousands of toxins. And at the same time, you and MMA cannot stand here and say their levels are within a safe range because the bottom line is their emissions are not tested. Morrisville's very own code, chapter 465-15, letter C refers to emissions that can cause damage to human health, animals, vegetation, etc. And letter E refers to odors being offensive at any point on or beyond lot lines. Recent violation of Pennsylvania code noted by the DEP. It's 121.7, environmental health and safety refers to failure of preventing emission of air pollution. Here,
3 minutes, ma'am.
can I continue?
How much longer do you have?
Minute tops.
I'm going to allow it, but not past that 1 minute mark.
Thank you. Also here, I have this sighting, which is the site location. It shows that it's inadequate due to the proximity to housing. An actual detailed stack test. That's what incinerators have to have annually. That shows VOCs, the semi-VOCs and metals. I also have a risk analysis, a gasification highlighting environmental risks. And due to their lack of compliance with Morrisville Borough's very own code, I urge council to act immediately to shut down the facility that's been out of compliance for 20 months. 465-15 letters C and E. Here is a picture of Eco Remedy. This is what happens at the bottom of the hill that nobody sees because it's hidden. And I have a petition, many residents and people who work in the area that are affected. If I could turn that in now or later.
I turn it in now. Your time is up, though. Thank you. Paul Chapman. Name, address.
Chapman, North Pennsylvania Avenue, 332. I got a little bit of complaint about the contract we have for our code enforcer. I put in complaints about grass, weeds up to your knees, up to your waist. They say they're going to do something. They had complaints about certain addresses. They haven't done a damn thing. You know, there's fleas, there's ticks, there's lice. We also got three foxes in this town that's already had the mange and been dead. If you try to kill them, they say it's against the law to shoot the thing. If you don't kill them, then they get in somebody's yard. You got a pet dog, you get the mange, he's dead. There's no cure for the mange. It's about time the code enforcement gets the hell out, goes up and down these alleys and checks the sides of the grass and the weeds, instead of just riding up and down the avenue. Okay, thank you. In fact, I'm older than all you guys anyway, and your parents.
Thank you, sir. Next person up is Tina Shannon. She left, okay. Amy Rankovich? Okay. Jane Berger.
Sorry about that. What's the tonight? Jane Berger, 90 West Maple Avenue. Welcome to our borough manager. I understand you come with a wealth of experience, and we're very fortunate to have that. As any job, there are challenges. I certainly hope some of the challenges can become positive opportunities. Briefly, the concert in memory of Mr. Mitchell. I was here this weekend, and I hope that becomes a new tradition for small venues to be held on the borough ground lawn. I'll get the right word out there. That's a new tradition. We hope that continues. Now I'll move to past traditions, which is the Labor Day picnic, which for decades upon decades we know was sponsored and coordinated by the mayor. Last year was pandemic, and this year, well, he's kind of MIA. I thank council for the previous meeting for authorizing something, but it seems to have been a little nebulous. When I saw something on a candidate's Facebook, I went to the borough right away, and I didn't see anything about, the event or what was happening. Some folks didn't know about it. So that certainly was a glitch. We all wear many hats in this borough, and I hope that we all pull together for Labor Day. I did speak to Mr. Parker, and we had a good conversation about making sure we don't lose the Labor Day tradition. and that everything will be done hopefully. And I'm sure you'll see that it is headed by all the past policies and the way things were carried out, and that we have a good time is had by all. I'll quickly put on my MBA hat, and I'm sad to share tonight that because we did not get a timely approval, we haven't even heard from PennDOT about closing East Bridge Street. We sadly have had to cancel the card show. To put an event on of this size, it takes time in terms of gathering those sponsorships and getting the trophies and everything put together and printed. And we tried to go even beyond a drop dead date. What's unconscionable is that PennDOT didn't have the courtesy to say nay, yay, maybe so. It could be COVID. We do know that it had to go to Harrisburg and not be done at District 6. So that's why with the borough support and help, we really got it in much earlier than they told us we needed to. EIT, I hope you'll have an informal discussion, questions and answer with the residents. There's a lot to discuss on further, but thanks for starting the discussion. Paving, the difference between Lafayette and Plaza. Plaza Boulevard Street is entirely owned by the borough, where Lafayette, as you heard tonight, is a 50-50 situation. Several years ago as a council, one of the pavings of Plaza Boulevard was able to be funded by CDBG, and the last time you did it, this area you were doing, unfortunately, they would not approve that. The last time Lafayette was done, we did a paving and they did a reconstruction. I'm just disappointed that Falls Township didn't let you know early in the process that they were going to do this, but it's more complicated because it is half of a street and we do have residents that live on the other half. So again, I'm a process person. The process was not the best. I understand your concerns, but if it's done, then maybe it'll be done and you won't have to do it for another 20 years. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Berger,
3 minutes.
I'm sorry to hear about the cancellation.
Yeah, we are really disappointed.
But that does answer my question. I was going to ask where were we with the letter because I didn't see anything. So to PennDOT's letter.
Everything was sent electronically through the borough. I mean, the Burton has been a great partner the last 2 years because last year we got canceled because of COVID, and it got submitted to the district, PennDOT District 6, which is their southeast region. The regional guy looked it over, didn't see any problems with it, but because of COVID, they had to send everything out to Harrisburg, and they didn't have the decency to get back because the contact would have been to the borough. And with the staff handling, I know if it came in, we would have known right away, and hopefully we could have gone forward. Next year, we're going to try it again in the spring, and with the borough's support, we're going to do a plan B of an alternative on a non-state street. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Mary Harinda.
Council, Ms. Danko. I'm Mary Brenda, and I live at 343 Crown Street.
Mary, you'll have to talk into the microphone a little bit closer,
I'm Mary
please.
Brenda, and I live at 343 Crown Street. Under Pennsylvania's Constitution and its Donated or Dedicated Property Act, no government entity can sell or convert to non-public use any park that has been donated or dedicated for public use. Government is not free to sell or use the land however it wishes as if it owned it outright. And the government's role is to care for it and to preserve it for the benefit of the public. Parks provide many benefits for both residents and the community. And Pennsylvania law recognizes and preserves them for the public to enjoy. People often choose a place to live because of a nearby park. Williamson Park provides an enjoyable place for healthful activities such as running, walking, playing outdoors, participating in sports, or just relaxing under a tree or on a bench by the river. It provides a place for picnics, family gatherings, festivals, and concerts for the community to enjoy together. We're truly fortunate to have a park right along the river, right here in Morrisville, like Williamson Park. According to the Donated or Dedicated Property Act, Williamson Park must stay a park unless it is no longer practicable or possible and has ceased to serve the public interest. Clearly, that is not the case with Williamson Park. The borough government must preserve Williamson Park for the people. The Donated or Dedicated Property Act prohibits the development of Williamson Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Don Rice.
Good evening and welcome, Ms. Stanko. I begin with a quote.
Excuse me, your name and address for the record, please.
Sorry. Donald Rice, 343 Crown Street, Morrisville.
Okay.
I begin with a quote from the November 16th, 2020 council meeting made by John Van Louvenet, Select Morrisville's lawyer. He said, quote, "We need to have council expand the borough redevelopment district." Later, "We also need to talk to council about having properties that are owned by the borough transferred for purposes of incorporation into this project into the redevelopment authority." Next, I quote motion 9J, passed at the December 21st, 2020 council meeting. It reads in part, quote, "Motion 2, authorize borough staff and professionals to engage with Select Morrisville and the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority to aid Morrisville Select's completion and submission of a full subdivision and land development plan application," end quote. Finally, Van Louvenet at the November 16th, 2020 meeting states, "Theoretically, I cannot make application for a land development plan approval unless I have an ownership interest, or in this case, it will probably ultimately be the RDA making the application." These quotes make it clear the RDA and Select Morrisville's Williamson Park plan is to 1, get council to expand its redevelopment district. 2, the RDA then takes ownership of the borough's and Churches Park properties. 3, the application prepared by Select Morrisville can then be submitted to the Borough Council and Planning Commission by the RDA. The borough needs only to pass a motion to expand the redevelopment area to allow the RDA to take ownership of the park. This is an attempt to bypass the Donated or Dedicated Property Act. It will not succeed. This act states that the municipal parks cannot be developed. Development is not okay if the RDA first takes ownership of the park. Development is not okay when the park is leased, or when it is donated, or when it is sold. Municipal parks, Williamson Park, cannot be developed, period. Therefore, Save Williamson Park requests council make and pass a resolution withdrawing support for Select Morrisville's land development application because development of Williamson Park is prohibited by the Donated or Dedicated Property Act, and furthermore directs the RDA to refocus its efforts in Morrisville to the existing redevelopment area. There was never a public discussion of this act. Select Morrisville's negligence has caused this situation. Please correct it with this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next person up, I apologize, I cannot make out your name.
That would be me. Deborah Friedman?
Yes, sorry.
No problem. My sincere apologies for the chicken scratch that is back.
Mine is no better, so.
I'm hoping that the.
Name and address just for the record.
I apologize. Deborah Friedman, 751 Gordon Drive, Morrisville. I'm hoping the council will respectfully help me with what I wish to say as I ask you a question, if you don't mind responding. If you would kindly raise your hand if you own a car, I would appreciate it. And if you would not, then I respect that too. Okay.
I own a car, but I have a question. Did you say Gordon Avenue?
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yes.
That's, yeah, just so you know, that is not the borough of Morrisville. Were you aware of that?
I know that I have a Morrisville address.
Yes.
Right. But,
So am I allowed to speak or am I not allowed to speak?
well, I don't know that I'd leave that up to the president. I'm not sure what your issue is, but just so you know, you're in the wrong.
You can speak, but you are on the Falls Town, you're in what they call the Morrisville section of Falls Township. It's an unincorporated area, but it's not part of the
I
borough.
apologize. I spend a
It's okay.
great deal of time in this area,
Right.
so I consider myself and my family a part of the community. So my question about whether you have a car has to do with this. If you own a car, it is yours. You own it. I cannot sell it. Just as the borough does not own Morrisville's Williamson Park, because in 1938, Williamson donated $10,000 bequeathed for land for a public park, as well as the rest of the park is leased for 99 years for $1 per year from 3 churches in Trenton. So it's not owned, so we can't sell it any more than y'all can sell my Honda outside. I ask that you preserve the park. I'm sorry I didn't speak as well as the 2 previous speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next person is Courtney Liu.
Hello, Courtney Liu, 327 Hillside Avenue. And respectfully, I just wanted to say, I think you have some information incorrect. We all know Jane Berger has sort of the, I'm sorry to bring her up, but she knows all of the legal, okay, I'm sorry, but I don't think you have your information correct as far as the Williamson Park parcels. So, but no, I don't believe so. Really, I'm saying that truthfully. So you might want to investigate that just a little bit more.
That's why.
Okay, so I just wanted to welcome also Ms. Stanko and tell you that Morrisville is a truly lovely place. It's a wonderful place. And I also wanted to thank you for helping with the library roof. That's a wonderful way to begin here in Morrisville. I wanted to thank Ted Parker for hosting the event to remember Scott Mitchell this past Saturday. I really adored Scott. He was very helpful to me. And so I wanted to thank you for having that event to remember him. I want to say Lisa Bichelle was great, and thank you for honoring his memory. And I wanted to encourage more musical events in town and say that I would also be happy to advertise them. I don't know where there was a little bit, maybe not as much advertising. Well, there was, but it didn't get out to all the residents. And I also wanted to encourage that maybe the residents could share the flyer as well, because it was just a terrific musical event. It would be nice to see all the residents come out and enjoy it. So that's all I wanted to say. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Next person up is Joshua Kuntz. State your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Gladly. My name is Joshua Kuntz. I live at 40 Union Street, right over there. And might not be as specific as I would like to be with something, so I hope you can accept my inspirited speech. But I wanted to start off with kind of an interesting spiritualism of such that I came across within the last decade that helped me kind of with my own life. I always thought was really meaningful, which was that when we face hard times, that the difficulty for some people is that they turn their eyes away, but others will stay fixated on the thing that is the toughness and become jaded. And so we have this kind of choice between turning away from our issues or getting thick skin, and that the virtue is to do neither, but to stay vulnerable and look at the problems before us. And so with that, by the fact that you're here, I do want to thank all of you, because you guys are all kind of doing that regardless of any sort of service. And as a person who works in the service industry, I know it's a great burden to have to deal with other people's emotions. It's one of the hardest things we as primates have to do evolutionarily, because most of our structures and successes come on the backs of our ability to work with one another's emotions. So I say all this kind of to contextualize what I'm sure some of you may have heard or been aware of the IPCC climate report that has come out recently. And that, like, if you aren't, but the gist of it is basically that we as humanity can potentially prevent the worst of our impending global environmental cataclysm that is being brought about due to the effects of industrialization in the West and elsewhere after that point, if we work together and pretty immediately. And so I'm sure that this borough right here will take the charge and will save the environment, like us, just like us, right? Like, that's in our powers. Now, but I do think that that is a context that we should keep in our hearts and our minds when we are reviewing the things that we're trying to accomplish today, whether it be the methane releases, which is a horrible burden upon the atmosphere with, I think, a higher percentage than how carbon affects the atmosphere, or even when we're getting rid of our lands, potentially.
1 minute, sir.
I'm sorry?
1 minute.
Oh, thank you, yes. So yeah, that was kind of the most of it. And I know that these are really tough times for all of us. And so I do want to just like really reemphasize that I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. Even if I were to find myself disagreeing with your stances on many things, humanity has always been a difficult struggle of us coming together and working together. And that hopefully we can kind of keep that in our focus, that we are here to try to make improvements and stuff. And I really appreciate what you're doing. And that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, no one else is on the list, so we're going to close out public comment. And we're going to move on to approval of the minutes.
Mr. President, before we move on to that, I see Mr. Warrenda is here in the audience. Can I ask him a question regarding one of the public comments we received?
If you'd like, sir.
You could ask, I don't know if I can answer it.
In relation to the eco remedy, I believe a conversation you and I might have had, I don't know, many months ago, ended with they were kind of on their way out and weren't being renewed. Is that still the case?
I think that's an oversimplification. I indicated that we were having some problems with them. We're aware of it, and I explained to you that there is a provision in the pilot program agreement that we have, which would allow us to terminate that program. Something I spoke to Ms. Rafferty and Mr. DiStefano about is that there is a public program that we've scheduled in cooperation with Eco Remedy. We're not actually going to host it. The idea is that Eco Remedy address the complaints they've been receiving. That meeting, that public meeting would be on September 2nd, Thursday, September 2nd. Yes, I'm aware there's a scheduling conflict, an apparent scheduling conflict with the EDC, but the EDC doesn't really have an agenda for that night, and I've spoken with them about them using another part of the building if they meet. So there will be a public meeting at which people can address all the things and more that Ms. Rafferty and the residents have raised.
Okay. Have you advertised this public meeting? Because this is the first I'm hearing of it.
No, I understand that. The fact is, as late as today, I was still making arrangements to make sure that there was no conflict with the EDC. We will provide. For starters, let's make it clear that it's not an MMA meeting. We're going to facilitate a meeting that Eco Remedy, we believe, needs to have, allowing the public to address them directly regarding the complaints about their operation, their process. The meeting will be advertised on SwiftReach. We have a program that allows announcements to be broadcast to cell phones, email addresses, and landlines. What happens is voicemails are left if nobody answers. And I think it provides text messages. I'm not sure. I don't know where the checkbooks are, so I'm not sure how SwiftReach works either, but we will provide that announcement. The nice part about using SwiftReach is we can do a targeted
group of people. We want to focus particularly on the neighbors around the Eco Remedy site. We also will be providing direct information to anybody who signed the petition that Molly provided, and we'll also be reaching out to anyone who telephoned in a complaint in the last 2 years, 18 months. We have a log of all telephoned in complaints that we keep as well.
Okay, so there's no active public plan for them to be leaving the premises anytime soon?
Sort of loaded question.
I say public because I understand that you are probably a landlord to them and have an agreement. So there may be things that you can't say in public because of executive privilege.
The short answer to your question is yes. There is no active plan.
Okay.
There are a lot of plans, but yeah, nothing I can share with you.
Would the MMA, maybe an overstep for you, maybe it'd be the board, maybe could the MMA have some sort of meeting with Borough Council, whether it be the board members or the executive staff, to discuss this and any remedies that have already been tried or what you may be trying? Yeah, we could do it before or after the public meeting. It might be more useful to do it after the public meeting because that may or may, I don't know what, what the outcome of that will be in terms of specific scientific or engineering information. But sure, yeah. Okay.
And I know that the DEP had made them stop operations. Are they up and operating again?
The DEP did not make them stop operations. The DEP, in response to some complaints, had issued an NOV, a notice of violation, requiring them to come up with a corrective action plan. That's the official and legal response that was provided that I'm aware of.
I got, they sent me a letter, so I'll have to go back and read that to see.
I have a copy of the letter. It was basically requiring a corrective action plan, and I could not tell you what the status of that is at this point.
So are they still working in full, or are they still trying to figure out their issues and they're not working?
Well, why don't we ask them that question September 2nd? The truth is, I don't monitor them on a day-to-day basis. I don't know if they ran today or not, for example. I couldn't tell you.
Mr. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
Would that meeting be held here?
Yes.
All right. Would you, for those of the residents that don't know about Swift Reach and how to sign up for that? There's
a sign-up page on our website.
On the MMA?
MMAwatersewer.org, I believe. And we've actually, we've been using Swift Reach for about 6 or 7 years now, and we've gotten pretty good compliance and sign-up participation. But anybody who, and some folks don't want to share email addresses or cell phone numbers, and I get that. But if they do want to be able to receive Swift Reach notifications, they should go to our website, MMAwatersewer.org, and follow the prompts and provide the information to sign on with Swift Reach.
Thank you.
Then they will get anything that we send out that way.
We could also put it on the calendar on the borough website as well.
What time?
We will. I wanted to be able to confirm before we did that we didn't have a conflict. And as I said, I did that actually just 4 or 5 hours ago.
What time would that meeting be?
Tentatively, it's scheduled for 7 o'clock. That could change, but that's what I was trying to do it as early as possible in the evening after work hours.
Zoom also?
Yes. We don't actually have a dedicated Zoom program ourselves, but the borough's been nice enough to indicate that they would allow us to piggyback on theirs. And we actually discussed that this afternoon as well. I talked to our IT guy, and that'll be implemented, yes. So you will be able to get on Zoom.
Mr. Parker, one more question. It's actually about Swift Reach, just letting the folks know that it's not just, I mean, this is very helpful, but it's also when you what do you call it, with the hydrants?
We do flushing announcements.
Flushing, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So there are a number of things that you can notify the public about, so it's really been very helpful.
There are. One of the reasons we went to Swift Reach, which is a commercially available program, there is a county emergency program that I know, I don't know if the borough uses it, probably does. A lot of municipal corporations, municipal entities use a county-wide emergency program. But Swift Reach is a little bit more flexible. It allows us to put things like this, to get things like this out to the community. The emergency programs are a little bit more limited in what you're allowed to and how you're allowed to use them.
And one last thing, I was going to talk.
You said that already.
I know I did. I want to talk about later, and that's the murals. But figure since you're here, I'll just make mention that if you want to.
I did respond to your text message.
You did, yes.
There's a water hydrant right at the corner of Moreau and South Delmore, and we'll set it up so that can be used. It's actually new. It was, well, newer. It was placed there 6 or 7 years ago when we put a new water main in Moreau Street.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to 6A, approval of the minutes for the Borough Council regular meeting of June 21st, 2021.
Mr. Parker, can we indulge and do them in block, please, for all three? Unless people have some issues with regards to each of them individually.
Anyone have any objection to that? Okay, so we're going to, do you have any problem with that?
Yes, you're going to. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 21st, 2021, July 13th, 2021, the special meeting, and the regular meeting of July 19th, 2021.
All right, you have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we're going to move on to finance.
Mr. President, I didn't hear Scott on that. Is he still on the line?
Scott,
Still here,
are you still
yes.
there?
Yes.
Are you a yes? Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to move on to the treasurer's report. Everybody had a copy of that. 7B, a call for a motion to approve the bill list.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion.
Mr. President, my only comment is I'm going to say yes, but it's for everything but Republic Services.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I'd like to remove Republic from it as well.
Okay.
That's individually?
Yes.
You're voting against it?
Yeah.
It's so, but it'll stay on the bill list then.
How do you want to handle it?
I bet the best way to handle that is if you want to remove someone, I would make it a motion, vote on the motion, and then finalize your vote after that motion if you were to remove them. So I believe that we can say that.
Okay.
Mr. Powers made a motion that was seconded by Mr. Yeager. I think is a fair way to say.
So that was a motion that you're making to remove it from the bill list?
Yeah, remove it from the bill list. So we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I'll add to that, like I said before, my intention is to not completely not pay them, but to hold on to payment to entice them to fix stuff.
Agree.
What is the motion?
To not pay Republic out of this.
To not pay
remove their
them?
bill
To
from this.
extract it from the list, right?
To not pay them this month and owe it to them, or to not pay them?
So it would be to remove that. The motion as it is to remove them from the current bill list. So you would not approve the bill tonight. Obviously, it can be approved at a future meeting to pay them at a different time.
Any other discussion? All right, Virginia, you still there?
Yes, I am.
All right, we're going to do a roll call to remove Republic's bill from the bill list.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Bowers?
Yes.
Ms. Walhol?
No.
Mr. Nichol? Oh, sorry, excuse me. Mr. Paul?
No. No.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherlock?
No.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
I'm going to say yes. Motion passes. Republic's bill is removed from the bill list. All right, so we're going to move back to 7B, which is a call for a motion to approve the bill list minus Republic's bill.
So moved.
The motion was already made. You just have to, any comment? Yeah.
Okay.
Just any comment?
Any comment then?
Excuse me, the motion is,
This is to pay all the other bills with the exception of.
right, but who made that motion? So you're
You
using
did.
the,
You made a motion.
Oh,
You said,
okay, I'm sorry.
you seconded it, and then it was more, best way to put it.
Pay
is
attention.
That was an amendment.
Right.
thank you.
All right. Discussion? All right, hearing none. Virginia, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Bowers?
Yes.
Ms. Walhol?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes, motion passes.
Mr. Parker, question. What happens with the Republic bill? Do we revisit it next month? Do we never pay it? What happens?
We're contractually obligated to pay them. We're just withholding payment at this time.
Well, for how long are we withholding payment?
Let's see, next month, I guess. It's next month. We'll revisit it next month.
Are there any penalties in our agreement with Republic for not making timely payment? Do we know?
Off the top of my head, I cannot say. I don't have the contract in front of me.
I'll look it up.
Most likely there are. But just like there's penalties for them not doing collection, if they're not going to follow, that's my opinion is why should we stick strictly to it?
All right. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Otherwise, we're going to move on to reports. All right, 8A, Mayor's Report. Mayor's not here, and I don't have a copy of her report, so we're going to move on to 8B, Police Chief's Report.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening,
Try to
Chief.
make this as quick as possible. Overall crime rate so far this year, we're still down 37%. We are making progress with our 3 problem properties, the club house lounge, the Oakland Lounge, and the Flyers Den. The increase in part-time hours has worked very well this past summer. Being able to keep 2 guys on the street all the time. This is a question, I think, for the attorney, if you would. I know this new ordinance is passing tonight. Is there any way to put some kind of penalty in the end? As in, say, that they get a cease operations order if they violate this? Because we're doing something right now that just doesn't seem that they continue to operate under, please play nice. And it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Is there any way we can?
Sure. There is this is just an amendment to the ordinance. There is an overall penalty to the ordinance. Unfortunately, the penalties that we're limited to and allowed to under the MPC is fines. However, under the MPC, we can also take civil action if they are violating it. So while there isn't penalties specifically in the ordinance amendment you're holding, there are penalties tied into those sections. Yes.
But there's nothing that we can back into as a borough to increase those penalties and do a cease operations order when they do.
Not without court intervention. No.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
May I ask a question, Chief?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I had two. One was I saw that there was special enforcement equipment. Is that anything that you can share? Enforcement equipment? It's like $13,000. Anything new or different or?
13,000?
I think that's what it says
No.
for the year.
I haven't seen the bill list.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll move on for a second. Would you like to talk about the mural participation of your officers? I haven't talked about the mural yet, but.
Well, I'll let you do that.
Okay, but your officers are participating?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I have a question?
No. Go ahead, Ellen.
I have a question. We have some trucks that are going through town and they're making left-hand turns or right-hand turns where it says no trucks. And I know officers can't be everywhere, but if a resident saw it and took a picture of the license plate or a video of them making the turn, is there something you could do? Like, could you send a letter or is that code or?
We can issue a citation based on that, but the person who takes the video will have to come to court.
That's it.
Chief, on the bill list, I saw a couple items related to the COPS grant. Can you give us an update on that? And has there been any change? I know off the top of my head, we were originally looking to either have funds donated for time or switch funds around and not spend funds so that the borough wouldn't have any matching funds to pay.
Which COPS grant are you speaking of, sir?
There was 3 items. I think one of them said Holy Trinity on it.
Are you talking about the school grant?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in the process of clearing the bills out. The money, as the bills come in, they get sent to the federal government. The federal government sends us the check. We send it to school.
Did we ever get an agreement with, I think, Holy Trinity? I believe we got one with Morrisville School District, correct?
As far as I know, we have everything's going the way it's supposed to. So I'm sure we have everything. All the bills have been paid. The grant's working great. They're getting the equipment for free, and there hasn't been any issues.
Okay. My next thing was, I know you said that things have been calming down with the lounge and the hookah bar. I know 2 weeks.
I didn't say they were calming down. I said we're making progress.
Okay, I assume that to mean calming down, so I'll take back my wording.
No, but we're doing things that I can't speak of.
Okay, I was just going to point out, I know 2 weekends ago that parking lot was full again. There was ATVs and dirt bikes there.
Well, but
last weekend, last Saturday night, I drove by it after I heard a couple ATVs drive down the street past my house. I got there was 5 cars and 5 ATVs. So they either decided not to have a big event that night.
The one that you're speaking of, the owner said he was having a baby shower.
In the location?
Yeah.
At 2 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, this guy is. I won't get into it, but we are making progress. We are doing things that I can't speak of, and we're hoping things will get better.
But I think did I see that there was a 3rd officer on duty that night as well?
There's more than that.
From other departments, as I saw Falls and Lower Makefield driving around as well. So
Can I please not discuss this any further in public?
I get yes, I'll stop there. But I just want to say thank you. I appreciate seeing that.
We're trying. And if you want to speak to me privately about it, I will tell you some things.
I think Mr. Robinson. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Chief. The hookah lounge up there on Plaza, they got a letter with the cease and desist order. Is there anything with that? Like, are they ceasing and desisting, or? Because I realize if stuff goes on in the parking lot, then it's not really his responsibility. But is he adhering to that or not? Do you know?
Yeah, Mr. Rob, that was more related to my understanding. The cease and desist letter was related. He was doing some type of construction. It wasn't related to his operations. There were two other notice of violation letters that did go out related to his operations, though.
Okay, I have one more question.
But that's what I spoke about having this ordinance that we have actually has some teeth in it. That when we do a cease operations order, that it ceases operation. But he's doing a whole zoning thing that is probably will be coming before a zoning board in the near future.
Okay. Chief, what happened to the white van that we used to have? That's the motor carrier enforcement van that Bo Looney used to drive. I haven't seen that in the parking lot for several months. I announced that months ago. That was donated to the water department or to John Lader's streets crew so we can do water repairs. Oh, okay. I was unaware of that.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to 8C, the manager's report.
The majority of items that I had to speak about were on the agenda this evening. You also have the manager's monthly report regarding Keystone Municipal Services. I don't know if there are any questions, and I'm hopeful that I might be able to answer them. I too have been working with the chief and also code and zoning regarding some of the
I'm not getting any audio from the room here through Zoom. I'm texting John later to see what's going on.
Yeah, I thought I lost the internet connection.
Yeah, I was just doing the same thing, Terry. I was just texting John because, and I also noticed it looks like it's frozen.
Yeah, it froze up on me. I thought it was my internet connection.
No, I don't know. I think it's something on this end, Scott, I think.
It's between Zoom and Life Size, I guess. I'm seeing what he says. Or between the room and Life Size. I'm not actually sure which.
Yeah, because I lost the picture of the room.
Mm-hmm. And on mine, it's just everyone's frozen.
Why couldn't this have happened during those presentations instead?
Don't make me laugh. God, you can't do that to me.
Okay, it looks like the room dropped off, but I do still see them on the live stream, so.
Where are you at, Terry? Are you at home or at Borough Hall or?
I'm at home, and so.
Oh, Terry, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm having John try to get us back on Zoom.
Thank you, Terry.
Because it looks like they finally dropped, so.
Are they aware in the room that we're out of it right now or not?
I'm not sure. I don't have a way to get in touch with them.
Okay.
I will ask John to let them know.
By the way, this is still being recorded, so we'll have both views after the end. I go on the Life Size system and grab all the video, and I put that on YouTube as well. So there's always 2 copies of the meetings as long as I can get the video. So you won't necessarily miss Judith's talk, but
Okay.
you're missing it live. But they must be having an issue because I told him to dial back into Zoom, and it's not going through yet. Oh, here they come. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
All right, and I'll ask to unmute.
Are they taking a break? It looks like they might be taking a break.
It may be a break or it's finished. I'm not sure.
Or they're making a run for it.
It could be that because he let them know.
We're not finished.
Yeah, I requested the unmute. I think it just takes like 20 or 30 seconds and then it pops it back in. So we should be good to go here ASAP.
Oh, John Lader's calling me right now. Hold on.
There it is.
Okay. It looks like we're reconnected.
Yeah, I can hear the room.
Getting the whole state. Yes,
we don't, as a written, we don't stop. You don't hear that automatically. Send one, but as of right now, we just keep running. It's okay. No problem. That'd be all of them for me. All different laws. So we walk in with no, we were doing. You know what I was? We were actually getting back. Yeah, so I mean, it's all about those statutes. It was Wayne. I feel like fireworks.
Right here. Yes, I just actually.
I guess that's why I don't know. It's not, they don't have to. Yeah, they're ready to get something. I look at it every day, I watch every day, and I go, like, look at that. We'll never catch me over there, we'll never catch the dogs.
Last year.
I did. I had a nice big dinner. Fish tacos with mahi-mahi. It was amazing.
Yeah. And now I have.
I think we're back up, just so you know. Okay. Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
I was just talking to
Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We've been reconnected for a few minutes. I wasn't sure if you guys were taking a break or had adjourned.
Yes, we did. We took a quick recess. So you're good, right? We're all good?
Yeah, we lost a few minutes of Judith's manager report, but it'll be available on the life-size playback, which I will also upload to YouTube after the meeting. So nothing should be missing from the public record.
Okay. All right, so we're back. Manager report, you were finished, right?
Yes, I'm finished. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on to 8D, which is committee reports.
I have one.
Committee report? Go ahead.
It's the joint school board. It's the joint school board meeting that was held on August 4th. The president, Damon Miller, was asking about the zoning process, because they do have a prospective buyer for Manor Park. That is public knowledge now. It's a nursing school. Although it's zoned for school, it's not zoned for this particular kind of school. So they're going to be asking for a variance. But school board had to extend their due diligence. I know that they were, I don't have the answer as to whether that was given to them yet, but that was just a couple of weeks ago. School's going to start on September 1st. They are not requiring masks. Bob had asked about the changes made to accommodate COVID. Damon explained some of those. The safety grant update, September 30th is the deadline. The extension for the grant was a question mark. And regarding Pennsbury, they will be talking with them. They'll be talking with them about possibly a feasibility study, which of course, this is an old subject. Talked about feasibility study, but they cost money. And it's going to have to be paid for. So hopefully if they do agree to it, it would end up being a shared expense. And then the zip code situation, we really didn't talk much about that unless Bob can elaborate. I don't recall. I didn't write a lot of notes regarding the zip code, the letter we had received. There's some trepidation with it. I don't know that anybody's moving forward with regards to that right now. And that is all.
Okay. All right, thank you. I don't believe there were any others, so. We're going to move on to action items. 9A is a call for a motion to approve recognizing September 2021 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, along with support of hanging ribbons on trees around Morrisville Borough and the Turn the Town's Teal Awareness Campaign.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
With that motion and second, I'm going to read the mayor's proclamation.
Oh, okay. And it also, I didn't know who was reading
I
it.
was
Okay.
able to get a copy. In recognition of September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and in support of Turn the Town's Teal Awareness Campaign, whereas according to the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition, an estimated 1 in 78 women will develop ovarian cancer in her lifetime, and knowing the signs and symptoms is crucial in early detection. And whereas while ovarian cancer is the deadliest of all gynecological cancers, there is no early detection test and diagnosis is challenging due to the common and subtle symptoms, making awareness and education extremely important tools for saving women's lives. And whereas Turn the Town's Teal is a national campaign that takes place during Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in September to promote awareness of this terrible disease. And whereas Morrisville Borough will participate in Turn the Town's Teal campaign by placing teal ribbons on downtown trees and structures throughout Morrisville Borough community. And Morrisville Borough encourages businesses and residents to participate and showcase teal ribbons. And now, therefore, be proclaimed that on this 16th day of August 2021, the Borough of Morrisville declares September 2021 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and supports Turn the Town's Teal Awareness and Research Campaign, signed by our mayor. So we have a motion. I've read the proclamation. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I have one comment. I think in conjunction to this, if it passes, we should ask the borough manager to reach out to the Bridge Commission and see if they can do the paperwork to request that the Trenton Makes Light show on the bridge be turned teal, either for a day or for the month of September, if possible.
That would be cool.
Thank you, Justin. I've made that verbally. I don't know if that got to the right people, but yes, thank you. But we should still send it to more officially, I suppose. Also, I'd like to just say thank you for, my fellow colleagues here who are hopefully in support of this. And I'd like to invite the public to pick up a ribbon down at the Borough Hall that they can hang on their own personal property. And we did lose, I think, since last year, I think there are 10 trees that are missing this year, but I'll still be hanging up about 100 bows. So thank you to the community for their support. And again, hopefully people will get involved. In fact, there'll be a teal tea table at the Labor Day picnic. So if anybody's interested, we'll have the handouts there. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Hearing nothing else. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 9B, a call for a motion to approve special event road closure for a portion of the 200 block of Stockham Avenue, 205 through 227 for Holy Trinity School's 5th annual food truck frenzy to be held from 4:30 to 9:30 p.m. on Friday, September 10th, subject to applicant providing certificate of insurance to Morrisville Borough. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Just, I know the Holy Trinity is putting this on, but it's open to the entire community, and they usually have some good food trucks.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 9C, a call for a motion to approve project amendment request, form regarding the CDBG budget increase and contract extension for the library roof project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Scott, you're still there?
Still here.
Okay. 9D, a call for a motion to award the contract for the library roof project to EDA Contractors, Inc., subject to an expiration of a 30-day review period under the Responsible Contractors Ordinance in the base bid amount of $226,162.20, along with possible deduct number one in the amount of $6,300 and deduct number two in the amount of $4,560 to be subject to the availability of grant funding. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Just happy this is happening, and thank you to all the administration who worked to get those extra monies. And to the original people who gave us the money, which were our state representative.
Anyone else? And we're going to do a roll call on this. Virginia, you still with us?
Yes. Mr. Bauer?
Just making sure. Yes.
Ms. Walahol?
Yes.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. 9E, a call for a motion to approve entering into a one-year agreement with Haug Associates to collect and submit the 2021 Recycling Performance Grant data for $4,500.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 9F, a call for a motion to approve the zoning ordinance amendment concerning the regulation for hookah bar/lounge and nightclub uses. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Discussion.
Yes. If Scott would please explain provision number 5. I know that I had a question about the word not, and then you did explain it, I think, but
Yeah, no, I
it
can
was a
explain
little
it. Yeah.
convoluted.
I
for me.
understand. Yeah. So you're going from the saying that there's these illegal, some part of the provision, this is the severability provision. So
Right.
some part of it's being declared illegal, unconstitutional, unlawful, something beyond your power. We do switch it over there because the reason what we're saying here is the reason the word not doesn't appear after is hereby declared to be the intent of this council that this ordinance would have been passed. We do not say would not have been passed. We want to say that this provision, anything that is found to be unlawful in this ordinance, even if that provision didn't exist, we want the ordinance would have been passed anyway. So the not actually comes at the end. So what we're saying here is it is hereby declared to be the intent of the council of the borough of Morrisville that the ordinance would have been passed, would have been adopted if such illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional section, clause, sentence, part, provision of had not been included therein.
Okay, so the not's at the end.
Right.
Okay.
We're saying it. I get it. I understand the confusion. We're talking about the provisions, then we're flipping the council, and I understand where the confusion can come in. But the idea here is with the severability provision, we want to say, well, we want to talk in the affirmative. That council would have always passed this ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. 9G, a call for a motion to approve a Civil Service Commission resolution approving an eligibility, one second. Eligibility list for the position of entry-level police officer with the Morrisville Police Department and certifying 3 names on the list for council's future consideration. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
The wording on the motion, it says entry-level police officer, but shouldn't that say full-time police officer?
I think that's what the
Yeah, the
civil service.
That's what the civil service certified the list as entry level. I mean, we can bring the chief up, but to me, it's largely the same thing. The idea is they're certified for that position. They're not certified for a higher rank, is what they're saying with the entry level. So just the first full-time level.
I know I looked at this, I looked at the, because we approved the motion to hire a full-time. I know it's semantics, but the contract, the police contract doesn't say entry level. It says full-time officer, first year, second year, third year.
And this is what they certify the list for. When you hire the person, that distinction can be made.
Okay.
And if I'm correct, civil service only applies to full-time officers. It doesn't apply to part-time officers anyway, so it couldn't.
Correct. Yes.
Have all the background checks been done already?
No, under the civil service law, they have to certify the list prior to background checks being completed.
But you can certify the list without the vote for the other 3, right? Like the second part, certifying the 3 names. I mean, you can approve the eligibility list. Yeah, that's a tongue twister. Without certifying 3 names if they haven't been checked yet.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and yes, they were doing 2 steps in one, so there wasn't an active eligibility list, so they put that together. Council was looking for a vacant position. Obviously, before the next step, these background checks will need to be done. If there's any issues in the background checks, council still has the power to object to the list or people on there and send it back for 3 new names if need be.
Well, I don't like the idea that we're certifying the names that we don't even have the background checks, but
if you just said that we reserve the right to not accept the people later after the background checks are done. So what's the
The
problem?
motion also says, and certifying 3 names on the list for council's future consideration.
Yeah, council's not certifying the list. We're just acknowledging the receipt and like that. The Civil Service Commission is who creates the eligibility list and certifies the candidates. You're just acknowledging your receipt. You have it. You're ready, prepared once additional information comes in.
I have a question. I'm not sure if anyone here can answer, possibly the chief, but I'm not sure. And maybe I'm wrong, but when I looked at the list, I didn't see any of our part-time officers being eligible for full-time employment. Are none of them that we currently have eligible?
They're on the list.
Are they? Okay, then
Yeah.
I just don't know the names. That's fine then. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 9H, call for a motion to install a plaque on the Red Canal Bridge in memory of David Ney. We have a
So
motion?
moved.
I'll second it. Discussion?
Did they, I know there were some questions of what they were putting up. Is it really a plaque or is it a statue?
No, it would be a plaque. It's not been ordered yet. Because the person I think has been on vacation, I understand. But it will be on the bridge itself.
Okay.
But if and when this gets approved, which I'm hoping it will, I have the information with regards, I had given it, I think, via email to Micah last month, that we do have to send a letter to Devin, the park ranger. Let me make sure I have this right. Devin Buzzard, the Delaware Park Manager/Ranger and asks for permission to install the plaque, then he will issue a letter of approval. The DCNR already approved the installation, but he's going to give us permission, written permission.
Why is that happening? Because when we went to rebuild the bridge, they said it wasn't their bridge, it was our bridge. So why do they have a say on that when they wouldn't pay for it?
You're right, it is our bridge.
So that we can put the plaque up and it's nothing on them.
But unfortunately, that's not the way they're working this. So, I guess we could find out more details.
Let's ask for permission. If they deny permission, then we can decide what action we'll take. How's that?
Yeah, DCN already approved it.
I say if they deny it, we put the plaque up anyway. If they wouldn't give us a dime for that bridge, and Dave Nay had to go to beg, borrow, and steal at Home Depot and everywhere to get wood to rebuild this bridge, and they didn't want to build the bridge. This is ludicrous that we have to ask them permission to put a sign on the bridge that they didn't want to have nothing to do with. That's crazy.
I agree, but right now let's just either approve it or not the motion that's at hand, which is to install the plaque. And then that would be the first step on our part. So anybody else has anything else to add? Go ahead now. All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes 7-0. 9I, paving project, Falls Township, contingent upon execution of solicitor's agreement. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. What's meant by the solicitor's agreement is obviously we'll have to, like we said, this project was starting soon. We will have to come to an agreement with Falls Township. Obviously, it'll be agreement on the terms that council, should they agree to move forward, decide to move forward, I should say, not agree to move forward. This is entirely your decision. We'll have an agreement in place with regards to the costs and the services. It's largely been laid out by the township engineer who was here, what will be done and how it will work. So it would just be a memorialization of those terms.
So we're actually approving the process of trying to go forward to get all the information because we don't have it all yet. Is that what you mean? Or
no, you would approve moving forward with the paving.
Okay.
So moved.
Did anybody move it?
No.
Oh, I'm happy at this.
Yes, Mike did.
What?
I said, yes, Mike just did.
All right, I'll second it. So any further discussion?
I'd like to make an amendment to it that it's up to $15,000.
Not to exceed 15?
Yeah.
All right. You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm okay with that. So
that's reasonable.
Not to exceed 15,000.
I have two questions. I realize that paving a road, it costs a lot more than just the cost of the asphalt. Getting the equipment there is that's a portion of the expense. How much does it cost to like? I see. I don't know how to phrase this. So in other words, Falls Township, the equipment's already going to be there. So basically, we're just paying for the asphalt for them to finish the borough portion of that street. What I'm wondering is how much would it cost to pave that road if we had to pay to bring the equipment out to do it? And it was say up to $15,000. How much road could we pave? Another road in our borough, because I haven't been on that portion of North Lafayette in a while, but I can't imagine that road is in any worse condition than some of the other streets in the borough. We've got some really bad roads, and would that $15,000 go? Would it go as far on another street? If that makes sense.
Scott, this is Justin. For a frame of reference, I believe we paved the back parking lot here at Borough Hall for, I think, $18,000.
Okay.
So
was it quite that much? Or it wasn't that ballpark?
It was somewhere between 15 and 18, I believe.
Somewhere around that.
Yeah.
I think the engineer had said that an estimate on us doing it ourselves would be $18,000 to $25,000. So, and I think the estimated range on this was 13 to 15. So
you're looking at
pretty
5,000 to
significant savings.
7,000 for equipment then.
Yes, in saving and having it done this way.
Just up front, I think everyone knows how I feel about this, so it shouldn't be a surprise.
I just wanted to confirm we do have money to pay for this. It's not going to break our bank. And
We have money in liquid fuels to pay for this, and
plus Pico.
and also Pico. Correct.
Would the Pico money be used for anything else?
Because the PICO agreement does not dictate what the money needs to be spent on, we could utilize the PICO money for other things if we really wanted to, or should I say needed to. I mean, I would prefer to utilize it for paving because there are a lot of paving areas that need to be accomplished. I did drive around with Mr. Lader, and I actually did drive down this road. So that I did feel that it would be advantageous for us to do the other side. I think it would be to our advantage to save some money. But the PICO agreement does not dictate where we must spend the money. So we also have money in liquid fuels to do it, and we are not doing the projects that we still have on our paving list. And the money is still in liquid fuels also. So
where would this street fall? Because there's a lot of streets, like even in the first ward, there's a lot of streets that need to be paved that I think are probably worse than North Lafayette. So if we didn't do it, where would this fall in terms of our schedule? Like, is it 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now?
I don't know because I don't have a list of the current plan. Wade, are you able to help with that?
It's not currently on there, I think.
We're doing Hillcrest and Keystone right now. Is that what's on this year's plan?
Hillcrest, Keystone, and we were doing a portion of Lafayette, but it's the portion right next to Hillcrest. It's not the portion all the way up. What we're called.
Right.
But I believe that the next roads you have on this list are Washington Street, Robertson Avenue, Market Street, Queens Alley. I believe those would be up next.
Thank you.
Given that I've probably driven this quite a bit because I use it to go to work, and from work it's middle 50%, maybe 75% down the list. It's not high, but it's the convenience of having somebody there, not having to pay for it, and economies of scale of having the contractor out there and only having to do half a road.
100%.
Justin, in your estimation, if we don't do it now, when do you feel that it would need to be done? Do you think it would last another 10 years, or it would need to be done in a few years?
I didn't look at it that great a depth. I mean, you could probably get 10 years out of it, but you know, who knows? You know, the Public Works could be out there ripping up the road for water lines next month or 3 years from now.
And then we charge the MMA.
It's really there's not a borough street that doesn't need paving. It's just which one do you do?
Would we be able to have the MMA look at that and make sure that, because I'm not going to say.
I don't think in the time frame, Scott.
No, okay.
Because they're out there, the milling machine is sitting on top of the street. They're doing sidewalks now. In the next week or two, they're gonna mill and pave.
And if I may, people do care about this. I got a call and a text from Bill Burgess. He lives on that road. He saw this going on. The residents on that road are going, why wouldn't we just take advantage of the opportunity that we have? I literally got a follow-up text from him today asking if the borough was moving forward. I said, well, you got to wait until the meeting. We'll find out. But so residents that live on that road are saying, hey, listen, you got an opportunity here.
And I'll have to ask for Burgess's forgiveness. I do, because I do know them. I do know that I know the family.
And I'm not sure if Mr. Lader has any information that he could apply to this situation that could be more informative. I know that I had also questioned the lines underneath and, you know, the timing and so forth of, you know, of any notification. So, Mr. Lader, I don't know if you could help out.
I can't speak for the MMA, but I believe the remains there are newer. I don't believe they're the older remains like we have some other areas. I'm telling you, for me, when I look at this street, if you pave half of the street, like they do, that other half is going to break up fast.
Yes,
Exactly. Break up
right. 100%.
That's why I say it could be 2 years and that road could be a complete mess.
Yeah.
That's why we should put pressure on Falls, which I'm going to start tomorrow.
We can do that, and absolutely, that's up to you guys. But I just know that they're going to be start doing the work soon, and we really, I mean, they are. It is a borough street, and it does need to be done. And it's like I said, if they pave it, I guarantee within a couple of years, we'll be over there. It'll be one of our worst, it'll be one of our bad streets again. So I think it behooves us. That's my opinion. The rest of the council, it's up to you how you want to go with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Judy, you said you drove on it? Judith,
Yes,
you drove,
I did.
You drove,
Yes.
And in
Yes,
your
I would-
opinion, would you want to vote? Would you recommend paving it?
Again, it's not the worst road in the borough, although the situation at hand is why I brought it to council's attention.
Okay.
Just as what was just said, if half of it's paved and the other half isn't, we're looking at problems much earlier than we would have been. The entire road needs to be paved, driving on it. So I am in support of it because we do have the money, and also it would be saving us money. So I'm all for saving money when someone else has already paid for the cost of putting it out to bid and engineering and all of those other items. So that's the only reason. And I also would like to mention that I think it is a good idea to take into consideration as to what Nancy's thoughts are. And moving forward, I will definitely, if this ever arises again, but I didn't have the time for this one, to reach out to that township or whatever and do what needs to be done.
Now, John did mention that, and I'm sorry, Scott, in a couple of years, yes, it will probably look even, look worse than the day they do half the road. But I would also think that would give them even more pause about not doing the other side because their side gets ruined. But
they're not going to do it, and we don't, and the project is going to start before our next meeting, and we either vote for it or against it. But
all right, I'm sorry. We don't want to hold the vote up any more.
No,
go ahead. No.
Justin, do you work in the new building up in Lower Makefield?
Yes.
So when you go to work, I don't want to call it a shortcut, but it's kind of a shortcut versus going down Trenton Avenue and making the left. Are there a lot of other people that use that road, like the way that you do going out? And the reason I'm asking is more
I
of a
couldn't
like.
say. I'm on it for 3 minutes a day.
Okay.
I use it a couple times a week.
Because I'm thinking it would be more of an aesthetic thing. Because I know from driving like in different states and whatnot. States like the nicer roads are when you enter a state. Like if you drive through Pennsylvania, when you come into Pennsylvania, the road's really nice. When you get out to Ohio, the road stinks because I guess they want to make the road look good when you come in. So what I'm saying is that there are people that are coming into Morrisville and using that as their way into Morrisville. If they come down a nice road and then all of a sudden halfway down, they're going to know, oh, now I'm in Morrisville when the road's falling apart. So if we pave the whole thing, I mean, it could be make the borough as a whole look better. When people come in, they'll be like, wow, this is, I'm coming into Morrisville now and the road's really nice. So this.
Yeah, Scott, picking up on that, don't you think it would look better if we have the whole street paved rather than they say, oh, this side of the street is Falls Township, it's nice. The other side is Morrisville, it sucks. And I mean, appearances don't mean everything, but I think it counts for something in that.
Right. Okay.
Just remember, we're doing this portion of roadway at a discount because we're joining in.
Exactly.
Yep. So.
Right.
All right.
I mean, it's a catch-22. If people are going to say, you guys aren't paving roads, you need to fix the roads, and we do this, somebody's going to complain, well, why didn't you do my road? You did this one. But I mean, if we're going to get it at a discount and it's going to need to be done, and I hope John knows enough about roads. John later said in a couple of years, then we should just do it. So I'll vote yes.
I agree. I agree with you. Blame John.
We'll pave it. We'll never know.
All right. Anybody else? Otherwise, we're going to put this to a vote. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Scott? Are you a nay or a yay?
You already said voting yes.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay. All right. 6-1. All right. 9K. 9J. Oh, I moved past 9J. A motion to adopt Police Directive 225, towing and records.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. This has been going on since November.
Towaway.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nope. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 9K, Morrisville Environmental Advisory Council appointment. One appointment to fill the open position with an unexpired term of 7 months. Term expires on January 22nd, 2022. Can I have a motion? Oh,
I would like to.
yeah, we're nominating, sorry.
I'd like to nominate Joshua Kuntz to that position. He has submitted a letter and is interested.
We have one nomination. Do we have another? We have one nomination. Do we have another? One last time, we have a nomination. Do we have another? All right, hearing none, nominations are closed. We have one nomination for the position. It's Joshua Kuntz. We're going to vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
Congrats.
All right, we're finished with action items. We're going to move on to 10 other business. 10A, the Labor Day picnic. All right, as we know, there was no Labor Day picnic last year, and there potentially wasn't going to be a Labor Day picnic this year. We have the ability to have one. Some initial work has been done. Unless council tells me not to do it, I will proceed with doing it. We're going to have a committee meeting and involve members of the public. We're going to need help pulling this off. So I just need some direction.
Do it.
Yeah, if you're looking for a motion,
You don't need a motion.
I don't think you do. We approved it.
Yes.
Do it. Take the lead.
We approved it last May.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The other.
Do you want to tell the public any of the things that are happening there? We only have a couple of weeks to get that.
Yeah, it's very preliminary, but where the heck is my notes? Sorry. We're going to have some music that will play most of the day. We'll have two bands. We're hoping to have a bouncy house like we've had in the past, but our manager informed me today that our insurance company may not allow us. So, and if we're not able to, we will have something else for the children as well. We're expecting to have a petting zoo with pony rides.
So
and then games and events and some food vendors.
If the bouncy house vendor has insurance, they still won't let
I
it?
have to find that out. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right? Would that be okay?
Because I thought they had insurance.
Yes, normally we would ask for a certificate of insurance
Right.
with the vendor placing our name on the certificate, although there was some comment from the insurance company regarding bouncy houses. So we're looking into it further. If the insurance company feels that it's an allowable item, we'll follow through.
Okay.
If not, then it would be replaced.
And we hope there's no wind that day, because that's really the biggest problem they have is they take off. And I think isn't there talk of a car show too?
Yes, there potentially would be the car show that's normally there, because they hadn't heard anything from the mayor, booked with Falls Township. But we may have a small European car club that will be there. That they're totally independent. They'll be advertised through us, but they're running their own show.
And they're vintage.
And a vintage.
They're vintage import and
British imports, and I think other European cars. There will be games for the kids, and we're hopefully going to have a committee meeting for Parks and Open Space in the next 2 weeks to try to finalize this and get some community support and help us with pulling this off. All right, and it got really quiet in here.
Well, the air went off.
Yeah. 10B. Yeah. 10B, the library Halloween party. I know nothing about that, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's on there. I mean, we're having one as we do every year, but usually it's not something we approve because they do it in-house.
An email was sent to me by the library asking if they could have a Halloween party. I believe it was in the parking lot.
Oh, or the park, maybe.
I'm not sure, but
okay.
What happened was last minute it got withdrew because they decided that they didn't think they could do it in the month they wanted to. So so
you'd have a Halloween party and not in October? Okay.
At this time, I'm waiting for a response from the library. So it was too late to take it off the agenda. Although,
okay, fine.
Although my concern was if this is something that does happen all the time, can it just be approved or must?
Yeah, normally we don't even approve it, do we? I don't think it's just done internally.
It's just done internally.
All of their events they do internally.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
then
all kinds of stuff.
Then we'll take care of it internally. Thank you.
I think that's just an FYI for you because Scott was involved in the board meetings and things. So they probably just sent it to you the way they would have sent it to Scott.
But since we're on the library subject, I would like to mention, oh, that's right. So sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so we're done with other business. We're going to move into borough officials, and I will yield to.
You go first? Oh, okay. The library is doing a 9/11 memorial book, they're calling it. They're asking people they have a paper that's specific to 9/11, and they're asking you to write somewhat of a little diary about the day, if it's a day that maybe it was a good day for you, maybe it was a bad day for you, if you have any thoughts. And they're putting this book together, and it will be on display in the library for the month of September. And then, of course, it'll be there in perpetuity. So that's one thing going on there. Also, we have the library board is doing a raffle of a painting by a renowned artist in Newtown. He painted it for free, which is great, and now we're selling raffles, so I'm hoping everybody on council will at least buy one. I know that we had our first sales at the concert on Saturday, so it's going well. So you can also purchase a print of what he painted. So, and it is on display. I think it's been delivered back to the library today. So you can go down at any time and actually take care of both those things. Let's see, regarding the sidewalk in Pennsylvania Avenue, Scott may be able to speak to this as well. We did get a letter stating that they hope it should be done shortly. And they talked about if there was any architectural damage or anything of historic value, that would be a problem. I did receive an email from Eileen Bailey, and that's her. Now this is not official. This is just her comment. This is what the work that she does, and she said she didn't see it as being any major issues regarding architecturally or historically. So that's the sidewalk the famous sidewalk that Mr. Minder, I hope, doesn't walk on it. So,
is this a sidewalk over the bridge, over the canal?
Yes, over the canal on Pennsylvania Avenue.
There's a hole between
the road. Yeah.
There's a hole in the street, like between a curb.
Yes.
Like when you walk on that side, you can see the canal through the street.
Right.
I wouldn't walk over there.
No, which is why the cones are there. And hopefully they get it done sooner than later. Again, that could be a little bit of pressure to PennDOT.
Are they fixing the street as well, the sidewalk?
Yeah, they're fixing the underside of the bridge, and they're just redoing the whole bridge. And of course, the sidewalk would be part of it, but yeah. So.
And just an FYI, PennDOT just had called me and left a message regarding the replacement of the bridge.
Great.
So either at a September or October meeting, we'll have them on the agenda for a presentation.
Okay. Let's see. I guess I haven't heard any update about the JC building. It's always something I'm curious about. And this question was for Scott, if he knows there was a right-of-way agreement with the Caracappa attorney. What do you know?
Yeah, we have that. We'll have it ready for council next month.
Oh, okay. And then there was, I think that's it. Although I'm going to announce August 28th, first time around band will be down at the stage between 6 and 8 p.m. So hopefully we'll have a great turnout this time. And that is it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I would like to add that the first time around band, the drummer in the band is Joey Palmucci. Grew up in Morrisville. He was a couple years behind me in high school. His brother Don graduated. So Joey's a lifelong Morrisville guy, and he's a phenomenal drummer. He's actually a music teacher down in South Jersey, but he's a really, really good drummer, and he's a really, really good guy. So, so that's enough of a reason to come out and support one of our own. That's it.
It's a great PB. It's a great public service announcement. Thanks, Scott.
Two things real quick. Friends of Morrisville Dog Park will be hosting a pool party at the dog park. I unfortunately couldn't find the date and time, but Friends of Morrisville Dog Park have a Facebook group you can join to get the latest info. And secondly,
Is this a new one?
we had one last month.
One,
We're gonna
right?
have one
Have
this
another
month
one.
too, I
Okay.
believe. We have a meeting tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have all the dates straightened out. And secondly, I had sent an email to Micah when he was acting borough manager with Ted. I'm in the process of getting the Bridge Commission to come in and give a presentation, hopefully next month or in November, about the demolition of their building and the rebuilding of it, so that they can tell what impacts it'll have to the local residents around them.
Do you know if the borough's been contacted already? Because I was told that they've already set up a date.
Yeah,
That was through Jody, I think, told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him in July, and asked him to take it early July. I think it was right after they awarded the contract, and asked for them to come in July or August. And they got back to me in late July and said, it's probably going to be September when we sit down with the contractor and have a better schedule so that we can tell you.
And for the public's knowledge, the building on Wood Street is being demolished. So.
And rebuilt.
Yeah, and rebuilt. Smaller, much, much smaller.
Which one is that?
At Grove and Wood Street.
The toll building.
The toll bridge, the Bridge Commission building.
Yeah, the 4-story building is getting rebuilt.
Yeah.
Are you able to provide my contact information?
Yes, I will in my next follow-up.
I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So I saw on Facebook that someone was painting a mural on the Bridge Commission wall.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
So I'm assuming they got all the permissions that they needed from the Bridge Commission, and the borough has nothing to do with it.
Let me take that back. Thank you for bringing it up. It's a proposed mural project, but it's more than proposed now. It's actually going to happen, and the deadline is September 17th. It's called Love is the Answer, and this is actually a national program, and it's being run through our district attorney's office, who has partnered with all the police departments. They're trying to build communication with the police department and communities. So a number of communities are having a mural. And in searching for a place in Morrisville to do, all the other larger buildings that have a good landscape for it, they're all private properties. They weren't really approached, but the Bridge Commission was approached. Mr. Resta came down with some of the other folks late July and gave permission along with the commissioners. So August 23rd, 24th, and 25th is when the wall will be prepped. So it has to be stripped first and then prepped for the new painting. There's a muralist from Yardley who the Peace Center has also been a part of this. That muralist is designing it, and the community will paint it. So it's not just being painted by professional painters, it's actually going to be painted by community members that want to join in and paint with the police department, some of them. Even if they don't do some of the painting, they're going to be there as part of a communication project. Thank you for reminding me. And that's it. It's called Love is the Answer. And love is actually an acronym, but I don't remember what it stands for. I apologize. But you could Google it and it'll tell you.
Anyone else?
One last thing for budget. I see we got something from Verizon for the quarter. We only got $16,000. We budgeted 90. If it stays in that, we're about 20,000 plus short for the year. So we've talked about this before, but I know budget's coming up soon. Could be scary.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Mike and Helen.
Second.
Right?
You, me, I don't.
Well, I hate being, I actually forewarned Ted, but